special guest, Soldier Boy.
Fab Five Freddy told me everybody's fly. DJ spin and I said, my. Flash is fast, Flash is cool. Francois Supply, Flash ain't no dude, and you don't stop. Sure shot, go out to the parking lot. And you get in your car and you drive real far and you drive all night. And you see the light. Comes right down and lands on the ground.
Oh.
Comes a man from Mars.
So good.
He's got a gun. And he shoots you dead and he eats your head. And then you're in the man from Mars.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to a brand new episode of Granny's Peach Tea. If you have not seen episode 4 of The Boys, that is Soldier Boy on solid gold, apparently singing Rapture by Blondie.
Fantastic, because he's so monotone. It's like, again, I told you off the air, I've watched this like 5 or 6 times at this point, because he's so stiff, and he's like, the man from Mars, man, eating cars, and it's like, well, now I understand what these lyrics are, but goddamn, why can't Blondie like add some soul into it?
But you needed Soldier Boy apparently to add soul into
exactly.
So, but yeah, thanks for joining us on a Father's Day edition of Granny's Peach Tea. Jason, I saved it for on air, but happy Father's Day.
Well, thank you very much. I'll show you guys this. My my son picked this out for me.
Nice.
Right, and if I do this,
wow,
isn't that cool?
That is really cool, dude.
And then my wife picked this out. This is something she had put together.
Wow.
So it's sort of like a nice little greeting with all these different Lego superheroes. So it was really nice. It was a really nice day.
Dude, that's awesome, man. That is awesome. But yeah, so happy Father's Day to anyone joining us if you're a father or just celebrating with your father. Maybe you're celebrating watching Granny's Peach Tea or listening to Granny's Peach Tea with your father.
And that look, that's a great father-son or father-daughter or father whatever activity. It's a wonderful activity to listen to Granny's Peach Tea or wholesome fun, except we're explicit. So, don't let your kids listen if they're too young. You know what I mean? Especially with these boys episodes, guys. I mean,
it's going to be tough to try to keep it clean when we're talking about the boys these days. Or anytime, really.
I usually try to keep it clean, and I know that I let myself slip a couple times. I slip once or twice an episode, but once we get into the boys, I started dropping the C word in the Cockney accent, and I look back on that episode, and I went, wow, I've never been that vulgar. Like on stage, I've done stage work a long time. I've been, it's not my first rodeo here, but I let myself get a certain amount of vulgar for comedic sake, but I went crazy last week. Then I realized, guys, that was the boys. We talked about Ant-Man going into someone's urethra. I mean, me dropping a couple of C-bombs in a Cockney accent, I think that's the least that I got to worry about,
I thought it was great. Rick and I were talking about it, and it was just about how vulgar we can get on here and stuff like that. But I'm like, when you're talking about the boys, you kind of got to go with the content. So
right, exactly. Like, don't get me wrong. I'm never going to get crazy vulgar, and I don't think you will either. Talk about Ms.Marvel, which is a wholesome show and which we both, I'm sure, love. But like when we're talking boys, I think we got to tell these all right, I'll save it for the boys.
Yeah, the tone of both shows going back and forth is kind of funny that we're covering them at the same time. But yeah, so thanks for joining us. If it's on their Facebook live stream, if you're joining us on YouTube or Twitter or Instagram or wherever you found your podcast. We always appreciate the support after episode. Jason, episode 68.
68? God, GD. Let's keep it clean to the boys. That's 68. I don't know what milestone. I mean, I've been talking about retirement for a while. What else can you do at 68? I don't know. We're about to get hip replacement surgery, guys. The hip of this old show is going.
Listen, episode 68. What are you gonna do? I mean, we're getting to. I don't know when's the next time we have like a thing. Was it 75 or 100 or something?
Yes, yeah.
Whatever.
When we get super up there, I'm going to start making ridiculous things like we're older than the last living president, or we've only got 20 years until Star Trek begins, or some crazy shit like that.
Oh man, we get to triple digits, so it's gonna get weird.
Yeah, we got to get crazy.
No, we'll do it like what most franchises do. When they get to like crazy numbers, they just drop the numbers. And that's it. We'll just stop mentioning it. That's it.
That's right.
Unless you're the Fast franchise, which we will be mentioning in a little while.
Wait. If we were the Fast franchise, Ed, when would we go to space? Because I really want to go to space.
Episode 100.
All right.
Once you start getting triple digits, it gets weird.
All right, Ed. You know what? Your family, I'm family. Let's bring some family on. Let's go to space.
Family.
Corona, I am Groot.
All right. Well, but for our first segment, though, we wanted to talk about it was like a hot button topic, I guess, in the comic book movie community earlier this week.
This certainly was.
There was a Todd Phillips on his Instagram posted a picture of the cover of the Joker sequel, which, at least the title at the moment, it could be a working title. I'm not saying it's like official, but apparently it's going to be Joker Folie à Deux, pretty much kind of like crazy sequel or something like that. And now the limited details we do have, though, and we got this covered, so we're not going to go into wild insanity territory. We promise you this is based on factual stuff that has been reported by good known outlets. Is that it is rumored to feature, they're in negotiations with Joaquin Phoenix at the moment, but it's deep negotiations, and they're also talking to Lady Gaga about picking up the mantle of Harley Quinn in this universe here. And the big thing, though, that got a lot of people, either up in arms or whichever, is the fact that it's rumored to be a musical. So, all right, Jason, when we covered Joker, we had a conversation talking about, something. We know this was intended to be a standalone movie. When it was written. Todd Phillips has said it. Joaquin Phoenix said it. He would have been signed to a contract for a sequel if there was intentions to do it, or there would have an option or something like that. So, but we know how it goes. Movie made a boatload of money on a small budget, so I understand why the current, because Warner Brothers is under new management again, like new ownership. So they're looking at it and they're like, all right, well, obviously greenlight sequel. And Todd Phillips eventually came around to writing a sequel, and I guess this is where he wants to take it. So, Jason, you, as a fan of musicals, you're a fan of musicals. I am not.
I am.
By any stretch of any imagination, I am not.
I've been in musicals. I've been to musicals. I've taught musicals in my classroom. I am a huge fan of musicals. I love them.
And you're a fan of, obviously, comic book movies, and you're a huge fan of Joker.
Obviously. I'm a huge fan of the first Joker movie with Joaquin Phoenix, the standalone Joaquin Phoenix Joker movie that we have covered before. Yes, I am a big fan, sir.
So, what are your overall thoughts at the moment? At least with this, with the limited knowledge, because we do have like very limited information to work with.
Here's the thing. I only needed to hear one thing to be pissed off. Sequel. Okay. I don't want a sequel to this movie. I said it when we did the Joker. I don't want a sequel to the Joker. It wasn't intended to have a sequel. It was supposed to be this weird Elseworlds, beautiful standalone movie that just explored this character of the Joker in a real world taxi driver, New York 1970s setting. And I thought it was brilliant, and it did that. It made money, so now we got to franchise it. So, now Joker 7, Joker's children, Joker and, Joker and Harley Quinn get married, and they all have children from other marriages, right? Like, I mean, where does it fucking end? But, so I don't want this at all. Having nothing to do with musical, having nothing to do with Lady Gaga, because I actually kind of like Lady Gaga, both as an actress, because I watched her on American Horror Story one season, which she was really, really good. Mm-hmm. And I do like Lady Gaga's music, as much as I like any pop music that isn't from the 60s or 70s, because I'm old. But, like, I just don't want a sequel. That's all. Now, having said that, I'm going to see it if it comes out. Mm-hmm. And if it is a movie that goes, wow, holy shit, this redefined what I thought about sequels, I'd be the first to admit it. Because I think I make it very clear that I have strong opinions until I'm proven wrong. So, but right now, although I'm saying I could be proven wrong, right now I am 100% fucking against this sequel.
All right, so I'm with you on a lot of it. But there's always a but. But I think, and it's weird that I feel like, well, I guess I'm open-minded about a lot of this stuff regardless, but I'm being open-minded about this because, number one, I hated the idea of a Joker standalone movie covering his origin. We talked about that. We talked about that before we even had a show. Discussing this. And we rolled our eyes. We were disgusted by the idea of it. We broke it down why we hated the idea of it.
We felt it was a cash grab.
We thought whether it was or it wasn't. I mean, listen, I'm not naive to think. Listen, studios they make films for money.
No. But a cash grab is different from making a movie for money. Like I thought it was the Joker was going to be, hey, we're just taking something you like and doing nothing new. Give us your money.
Like Venom.
Like yes, exactly. Venom's a cash grab. Joker was art. A lot of people might disagree with that, but it's art. In comparison to what we get in the superhero world, you know what I mean? But I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt.
No, that's fine. But that's the thing is, so I got proven wrong by Todd Phillips the first time, so I'm willing to be more open-minded about it the second time. Now, the fact that they're taking it into a possible musical is I hate musicals. I've been very clear about that. They do not work for me by any stretch. I've seen a couple, and I enjoy. Listen, I like Book of Mormon. I admit I saw that. I enjoyed the hell out of it. That was hilarious. I saw Avenue Q.
I love Avenue Q.
No, it's funny. I think I saw that at a bad time because I think by the time I saw it, I felt like the one note joke was, oh, look, there's Muppets cursing. Look, there's Muppets cursing. Look, there's Muppets cursing. And I just was like, all right, I get it.
I get that.
And for the first 15 minutes, I'm like, all right, guys, I got it.
I get that.
That's why I kind of that the joke just got old for me. And I think I saw Chicago, which I was like, whatever.
Well, you saw it live or the movie?
Live. Musical movies. I don't even bother with. Like,
fair enough.
That's it.
Because the movie of that is actually better for people who don't like musicals because the stage it's all dance driven, and if you hate musicals and you're going to see Chicago, which is all dance driven, but the movie actually looks at the plot.
Okay, because I took Angie to see it early on, nice. And I was like, hey, well, let's go do this, and it was like, all right, it wasn't the worst thing ever, but.
No, it's a fun show, and the music's good. I mean, if you like that kind of stuff.
But I actually am for this because I kind of also, at least what I'm envisioning, is I envision this being as a Joker, Harley Quinn, completely dark, insane fever dream between the both of them together. That's what I'm picturing it as. And I can picture it being really dark, really sinister, really fucked up. And since it is Todd Phillips behind it, I would like to think that he will have his head on straight to approach this. I don't think if he had a good idea for it, he wouldn't push with it. That's the thing. Point. You know what I mean? I'm just kind of like, I don't think he would because of how heartfelt he was about the original and where he is in his career. Because some of the reasons he did Joker was, and he's known, if you've seen the Hangover movies, he's done that. He's done a lot of comedy. And he just kind of felt like in the current climate, comedy is pretty hard to do because it seems like his was more of like a raunchy comedy and things like that, and he just doesn't know if that would work properly.
Right? Yeah. Those kind of movies are going way out of style these days.
So he watches why he kind of turned his direction to this. Right. So I'm that's what I'm saying. I'm willing to just to roll with it and give it a shot and see what happens. It could be awful. I admit it could be awful.
I'll see it, and I'll be honest with you. If it's even this, if I watch that movie and it's awful, but I go, he was really trying to do something here. It just didn't work.
Yeah.
I will still rescind what I said about not wanting a sequel. Because my only thing about not wanting a sequel is I don't want a fucking cash grab. I don't want to just, hey, this made money. Let's now try to franchise. And because that's what's happening. Like I love the MCU. You love the MCU.
Mhm.
The MCU started something in, the movie world where, like, if you crap and wipe it on paper and it sells for $1, they try to franchise that. And all I've got to do is point to, like, that revival. They were trying to revive the Universal Studios monster flicks because they were going to franchise a
the
whole
money, yeah.
monster world. It's like, come on, that's ridiculous. So as much as I love what the MCU does, because it does it for a reason, I don't want to see it in every other facet, and that's my only thing. Having said that, if this is really fun and even really bad, and I'm seeing at least it's trying to do something artistic, then I'm all for it. So I guess I just have to see what comes out.
All right, so in a way, we got different directions together, but it kind of seems like we're at the same place.
Yeah,
now.
we are. We are.
I'm not saying it. Listen, we also have like limited information about this, but Lady Gaga is super talented as
I got
a
nothing
singer,
against her.
Songwriter, an actress. She has planted her place as a great actress now. And if you're going to do something like this, I kind of think she's your person. And if Joaquin Phoenix is going to sign on a dotted line for this, I got to believe he seems to be a guy who's very particular about what he wants to be in. So it's mainly because of the people involved. Regarding the franchise stuff, this is DC Comics in the end. This is, it is a franchise already. In my opinion, it's already a franchise.
Yes, but I think, like, when you do something that is a one-off, that's supposed to be a one-off, and then you just try to franchise it because it made money, you're saying, and this is a DC Comics thing. They're not really they don't actually understand what they own. You're saying, oh shit, I didn't think this was gonna be popular, and I didn't really care about it, but now that it was, fuck.
Yeah.
That's what I mean about franchising. It's like, I don't mind if you set out to say, we are going to do this, and even this Batman movie that we saw together and liked. Like they said they were going to do one, now they're going to do another one. And my students were asking me, well, how do you feel about that? And I'm like, well, he said that, but they very clearly set up a possibility of a sequel in the end. So it's like, I don't care what they said. Like, they clearly thought ahead. And so I don't mind that. It was just for this particular movie, there was just no thought about that. And again, now I'm just beating a dead horse, but
no, it's fine. I mean,
we're gonna see how it is when it comes.
Yeah, and regarding the Batman, though, I don't recall ever seeing, like, I think that had trilogy written all over it since before it even came out.
I do too, but this is what I've heard. I didn't even say that
No, I think it had trilogy written all over. Plus, it's Batman. I mean, come on. I think they just wanted to make sure they didn't get it officially green-lit until a few days after it came out.
That's what it was.
Because they're not going to do that. I mean, I think once they saw the reviews they were getting, they're like, yep, let's go. Like, this is going to be fine. So I'm on board with it. And I think that my only concern with a Joker standalone franchise is, though, at some point, you're going, the bat in the room is there.
Right.
So you can only do so much before it's like, eventually, where's Batman?
And that's another thing. I don't ever want, and I've said this on the show, I don't ever want this Joker to meet Batman. Ever. It ruins it.
I will wait and see. I would wait and see on it. I'm with you, and I know what you mean by that.
I mean, here's the thing. I can be wrong, and if I'm wrong, I'm wrong.
Yeah.
But, like, Batman is too much. I can't imagine them making a Batman as realistic as that Joker. Because that Joker is not maniacal Joker who does crazy. That is a very, very sick man with a lot of trauma who just reached a breaking point in a very vicious world. Like, he's not the Joker that we know. No. So for a Batman to be able to go head to head with him and for it to make sense, it couldn't be a superhero movie, and B, you need a Batman that I don't think you can really pull off.
I'm curious now that we're talking about it to see what that would look like. I mean, I guess in a weird way, I could see Pattinson's Batman interacting with this guy, but besides the timelines and the details, no?
No, because even Pattinson's Batman is as realistic as he is. Pattinson's Batman is realistic for a superhero movie.
Okay.
The reality is, if someone like Pattinson's Batman in our world did what he did, he'd be dead in like 3 days. It's the reality of it, right?
Yeah.
But this Joker, the Joaquin Phoenix Joker, is just a very sick person in our society who just became the Joker in this way. So he's not a supervillain, whereas even Pattinson's Batman is a superhero.
Okay, I can see that. But yeah, they'll have to address that at some point. But
yeah, but
yeah,
I mean, look, and we'll see what they do. That's really what happens.
Yeah, because the way I'm seeing it is maybe for most of the movie, she's his doctor, Harleen Quinzel, for most of it, and I think that's where they have their like fever dream musical situation, and then probably like in the third act is when she like kind of becomes Harley Quinn.
Yeah, that would make sense.
In a way, or maybe even like really towards the end.
That would make sense, yeah. And if the whole musical thing was in his head or her head or both, because maybe that's it, like shared psychosis, right? Because
exactly,
yeah,
that's what I'm thinking. I don't think it's gonna really take the reality that the first Joker movie was in and turn that into a musical.
No, and to be honest, I never thought that.
Okay.
Like, yeah, I never thought that. Like, I don't mind. As I said, my problem is not the fact that it's a musical or Harley Quinn or whatever. It's the issues I said before. But no, if it's going to be a musical, it is completely as a psychological breakdown of this character, or as we said, both characters. That's how I assumed.
No. All right. And so let's keep it moving along. Then let's jump into the CW verse for our 2 episodes of The Flash that we got to talk about, and especially that episode 17 was extremely exciting.
That's right. Look, we're going to talk about The Flash, but first, hashtag create the Gustin cut, my friends. This is The Flash right here. That's what I'm saying. This is The Flash.
Oh, man. Ezra Miller. What have you done?
He's run away. It's what he's done.
He might be in the Speed Force. Well,
he's in the Speed Force. He's fleeing. But look, I keep pushing this is because I remember when they first cast Ezra Miller as a Flash, and there was a fan base who said, well, cast Gustin, and there was this whole thing like, well, he's good for TV, but he's not good for movies, and it's like, why? Because he doesn't abduct children.
Something I guess I should have known we were going to talk about Ezra Miller a little bit, though, is I don't know. I kind of want to see Grant Gustin's Flash just remain as this Flash. But if they're going to recast the Flash, Ezra Miller's, I don't know. I haven't given it too much thought, but there's got to be a couple of people. I don't see Gustin jumping in there. I think they'll recast this guy and say he had that background.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, no, they're not going to cast him. I'm just saying I want them to.
Yeah.
That's what they're not going to. Absolutely not. I'm just saying they should.
You really have to flashpoint the shit out of this, where he wakes up in the DCEU, and then suddenly he's like, "Oh, Iris looks different. Where is Thawne? Where is Thawne now?" Blah 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 blah.
And this is the DCEU, and it's for goddamn sure going to be their last Flash movie. They don't have to do shit. They just have to put this out without Ezra Miller.
They're really fucked, man. Honestly, I'm sorry. I know we're gonna wait till the boys to start, but they are royally fucked because they have to release this movie.
It came at such, oh my god, this was such a sucker punch time, because it was like they put it off for so long, and then they got everyone so hyped, even me, and I'm not even a DCEU guy, and they got me so hyped about it, because it's like, and this was we were talking about this on our on the Facebook page, like, Michael Keaton is Batman,
Batfleck, Keaton is Batman, a new Supergirl.
Yeah, that means so much. I of course zeroed in the one thing I was most excited about, but there's so much here, and then it's like, oh, by the way, he steals children.
Yeah, and plus the early word on the film, and people who have seen it say that it's really good. Like, the film itself is really good, but like, you have to market this knowing this guy is everyone knows what he's done.
Mhm.
And what are you going to do during the press tour? I mean, you're just going to have Ben Affleck and Michael Keaton kind of like be front and center of the trailer and everything else to try to sell the movie. You're going to have to release all your Easter eggs and goodies out in the trailer and like try to sideline the Flash.
Yeah, no, and you literally have to try to make people forget that this guy abducted children.
Good luck.
Like, and I don't even think I'm doing it justice to what he did. I think what he did was worse.
We don't even. That's the thing is we don't even know all the details of what this dude has done. Like whatever's out in the media is there's probably way more to it, and we don't even know. And you know what really does suck too is for Discovery, who just bought out Warner Brothers, and they're just jumping in like, all right, cool. We're gonna. They talked a good talk about trying to revamp and focus on the DCEU and trying to like, acknowledge all the mistakes that they made. There's even been talk of Henry Cavill, them revisiting him and like trying to get Superman going like, dude, we own Superman. What the hell are we doing? Why are we sidelining him? Let's go. Let's push all this cool stuff that it seems like we've all wanted. And they have to deal with this film because it's filmed already. Unless you're going to, again, Christopher Plummer this shit with like Kevin Spacey when he had his movie come out and you're going to reshoot all of those scenes and get him out of it. Dude, I don't know, man.
Yeah, it's a really, really hard situation.
Yeah. But let's talk about Grant Gustin.
Yeah. You know what? That's not our situation, Ed. That's someone else's situation. Our situation is to talk about this season, these episodes, and episode 17. I'm going to say this: it's an Allegra episode. So that's where we are, guys. We've hit an Allegra episode. Ed, did you know?
What?
I don't know if you know this, but did you know that Allegra uses her power every episode to conceal her face in light? Did you know that?
No, I didn't know that. I don't think Allegra knew that.
We learned that in this episode.
Absurd.
Yeah, we
Completely
did.
Absurd.
Ooh. Yeah. I'm not even gonna look at my notes, man. This is a fucking Allegra episode. The only really interesting thing to talk about in this episode is the fact that the Flash goes to Leon Yu and talks to Reverse Flash, played by Wells. The actor who plays Wells.
Yeah.
Very important because it'll come into term. It'll be important in the next episode we're talking about in like a second, which is a better episode. And he's pretty much trying to figure out, what is he asking him? He's trying to figure out like,
there's a new speedster in town.
Oh, that's it. Yes, the speedster. That was in my next notes, right? And he's trying to figure out if this speedster is someone that he knows or if he knew that speedster from the future. And I thought it was cool because they both give each other an awesome monologue, right? Mm-hmm. Gustin monologues, hashtag create the Gustin cut, to Wells, and Wells monologues to Flash. But I had a note like, is Reverse Flash in love with Flash? Because he was like, I exist to hunt you. I exist to make you suffer. And I'm like, holy shit, dude, you really love this guy.
Dude, he wants to kill him more than anyone wants to kill anybody, apparently. I guess so. I don't know, man. That's all I can get from here. I mean, it is part of the reason, Jason, you've acknowledged this before on this show. How much I love Thawne. I like Reverse Flash.
You do.
And this show brought this Reverse Flash, admiration out in me, mainly. This and the animated stuff. I didn't read a lot of Flash. But I love Thawne. His obsession with taking down the Flash is like something that is almost to be admired, that someone is so dedicated to one purpose.
I mean, if you dedicated that, like if he went, I'm going to take all of my dedication to killing the Flash and putting it to, I don't know, curing world hunger or curing cancer or whatever, he would fucking do it in a day. That is how dedicated this man is.
He is focused. He is so focused on taking down Barry Allen. It's crazy. And I really enjoy both actors that play Thawne on this show. I do. I really, because in whatever, episode 18, we got OG Thawne back,
We
and
do.
I was so excited.
And that's such a cool thing that they set up that both of them are in the same episode as different Thawnes. That was so cool.
I was baffled at first.
I was too.
I admittedly was baffled. I was like, wait, what? Excuse me? Bacon powder? What did you say?
But I love that. So they talk about it, and God, Barry Allen does some great like psych work on Thawne here, because he's like, oh, you're not going to help me because you're jealous. And Thawne's like, I'm jealous? I'm jealous of you who stole my speed force? I'd never be jealous of you. I would kill you 1,000,000 times. And he's like, you're jealous of the speedster that I'm trying to find. Because he has speed with which I took. And he's like, yes, I am.
Yes,
anyway,
I am.
have you considered that maybe they're a new speedster? And then he just helps him. I love it.
Oh man, he's Hannibal Lecter, like with who used to have speed.
Yeah, exactly. Instead of like, please, he's like, Barry Allen, you stole my speed, I'll kill you. But I'll help you as well, because I'm also in love with you. But anyway, like literally we're talking about like 15 minutes of this episode, ignoring the rest, which is Allegra. So I guess, all right, the Allegra plot is this. It has to do with her dead cousin. Did you guys see that coming? Oh my God. Allegra doesn't have an existence outside of her dead cousin?
They gave her own episode front and center. She was the main plot line here. Barry and Thawne are somehow like the B plot in this episode.
I know.
And I'm like, can we just get back to the B plot, please? Like, all right, Allegra, like enough with your shit. We don't care. No one cares. No one cares. Okay, Thawne time. Let's go.
Well, and it's not even like, and look, of course, it's stupid to make Barry and Thawne your B plot for anything. That's just stupid, right? But it does not help that the fact that your A plot is Allegra, because Allegra is the most boring character on this show. Literally, Allegra's whole thing is, I have unspecified light powers, and apparently I shield my face. And did you know that I was in a gang with my cousin who died? And did you know that that's my whole personality?
And it was one of the writers at what is it, the fucking magazine, the whatever, the news thing that they run, that Iris runs there.
God, yeah.
That one reporter was so annoying. I actually want Allegra to like light up her face or something like that at some point.
God, that whole thing, like, I actually watched part of that twice because I fell asleep, and I still don't remember a lot of the stuff that went on between those characters. Because it's like all of those characters are so generic. That whole plot was so generic. It's like, oh, let me tell you something. I found out that Allegra actually was an ex-con who used to run with this gang, and her cousin who is dead, who died fighting the Flash, and she didn't help her, and it's like, oh my God, we don't trust you anymore, Allegra. We're going to leave you and go into this other room. And it's like, who fucking cares? I don't know any of these characters. The only character in this whole building that I care about is Chester Runk. That's it.
There's one really funny line, inadvertently funny line, that is said in this plot, and I think we should probably just forget this crap and move on to episode 18 after
All right,
this.
fair enough.
There is one line. The guy that's with them, who I believe is a veteran, and I thought they mentioned that in a previous episode. I'm just thinking this. At one point he's like, "Oh yeah, we know where our enemy is. That's a good thing, because I've been in battle before." Really? Really? Holy shit. You should know where your enemy is, because you are in battle, and you have this knowledge you cast upon us to know that you should know where your enemy is.
Yeah. I don't
Interesting.
I've never been in battle, but I don't think it's ever a bad idea to know where your enemy is.
I mean, Jason, I've been in water gun fights. Super soakers back in the day. And I usually the first thing I would like to know, even before, is there water in this gun still? Where the fuck is the person I'm trying to shoot? Just saying. I didn't need to be in the military or anything to learn that you should know where your enemy is.
You did not. And before we move on to the next episode, I want to note the absence of the greatest father in the DCU.
Yes.
No Joe West in any of these episodes. By the way, how did we not have Joe West before Father's Day? How the fuck did that happen?
That's a fail. We better get a lot of Joe West this Wednesday.
We better. This better be Joe West cornucopia. It better be a Father's Day episode for Joe West. The man is one of the greatest fathers in all of comic book history here. And he's getting the short shrift. And it's weird, by the way, that this... I don't notice it with other shows, but maybe I have to look. But The Flash... Some of these actors, including Grant Gustin, just go on hiatus.
That happens on The Walking Dead a lot.
Does it?
It does, because the way The Walking Dead, and Flash doesn't do this, but The Walking Dead literally will take, hey, there's these 4 characters. We're going to focus like 2 fucking weeks on these 4 characters. And then we're going to go to a different 4 characters and then a different 4. Dude, okay. By the time they come around again, I'm like, wait a second, that was like 2 years ago. What the hell is going on here? I totally forgot.
But at least that makes sense, because this show is just like, anyway, so we're going to have an episode. Where's Joe? Joe who? Anyway, this is your thing. This is my thing. Hey, where's Iris? Iris what? Get the fuck over to your post over there. We don't know who these people are. Like, they don't even address it that they're not there.
Dude, the kid in the convenience zone. He's Joe's youngest child. Listen, as much as we love Joe West as a father, let's just forget that he has the youngest child, because that kid never exists ever.
Look, I am going to say that is not Joe West's fault. Joe West is a.
Don't blame it on Cecile.
No, I'm not going to blame it on Cecile either. What I'm going to blame it on is the fact that Joe West is not a dad in real life. He is a TV dad, and TV dads get this thing where sometimes their children go into the void, like Richie Cunningham. Right, his brother.
Convenience zone. That's what I'm saying.
Convenience zone. Exactly.
Convenience zone. Yeah.
That's a TV thing. You can't blame Joe West. That's the writing.
All right, that's fair. That's fair.
But all right, so but this next episode actually was really cool for the most part. We find out that the other speedster is this very brilliant doctor who has Dr. Mina DeWin. Dr. Mina DeWin. We found this out in the end of the last episode, beginning of this one, and her whole thing is like, well, I'm not a speedster like you, but I created something to give me Speed Force because I want to help people. And the Flash is like, oh wow, that's super cool. And so the beginning of this episode is her doing the Flash's opening from the first season as herself, which that was super cool. I really enjoyed that.
Yeah, I thought that was cool.
And then so the whole thing there. So I'll do the eighth line first. The whole thing there is the Flash wants to mentor her. He does. They get along very well. She winds up hurting him and she doesn't understand why. He goes to her lab, and who is her partner and her lover husband? Eobard Thawne himself, the Reverse Flash. Ed, you want to talk about the scene? You want to talk about anything about the Reverse Flash here?
It's the original actor who played the Flash, who played Eobard Thawne, and I was just super excited to see him, but I needed to understand, why are you here? And me and Barry were on the same token, like, he's
yes.
like, what are you doing here? Give me a minute. No, he confronts him, and he apparently has no memory of what happened, and apparently has like memory issues and stuff like that. And he goes to, obviously Barry's like, all right, well, I need to go check on the other guy that's in the Lian Yu Argus facility because that's the fucking first. I wouldn't even talk to him. I just would have fucking zipped over there, and that would have been it.
You there?
Yeah.
Good. You back.
You good? All right, cool. I'm back. No, but then they find out there are 2 of them in existence at the same time, and apparently the Thawne that has the memory loss, that's the original actor, is the one from Flashpoint, who was on Legends, and they smartly flashed you back to Legends and played you through.
And by the way, we got Dr. Ray Palmer, and we got a Legends flashback. The Legends live even for a moment, guys.
Just like this Thawne, the Legends don't go away. They just keep on coming back here.
I loved it.
It was cool, but then the idea with this is that he wanted to do something good, and he wanted to create, a speedster and stuff like that. So he created this machine, but she also fell sick and was going to die. So he pretty much, instead of him jumping in there, he put his girlfriend in there, saved her life. So she's the speedster now, and she got like the red eyes going. I mean, I'm kind of just hoping though they're not trying to say she's Reverse Flash now.
I'm really
that
hoping
would be kind of stupid.
They
might
like
that.
They might be going that way, but then again, they're probably going off the air next season. So what are you going to do? Let them do what they got to do in their death rattle here. But I wouldn't like that either. But what I did like about that though was
this is Thawne.
When he goes to talk to Wells Thawne, right?
Yeah.
And Wells Thawne is like, well, I don't know who this guy is, but a Thawne is a Thawne is a Thawne, and every Thawne has one thing in common, and they will kill everyone and everything to protect themselves, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then to find out that Eobard Thawne, like, because you're led to believe that he's creating the negative Speed Force because it's just in his psyche, it's who he is, right? Yeah. But who he isn't is to put his wife, who's about to die, in there to give her that. So I really hope that even if they're going to do like she's now a Reverse Flash, not a Reverse Flash, I really hope what they're going to counter it with is, well, now Eobard Thawne is an actual, genuine, 100% ally who is not going to stab us in the back. Because I think that at least would be interesting. And especially since we know we're probably into the last season, it would mirror the first season where Eobard Thawne was a villain in sheep's clothing who we thought was our good friend Dr. Wells, who was really, you know what I mean? So there could be some fun stuff to do with it. It's just a matter of if they're going to do it.
Whichever Thawne it is, one of these Thawnes needs to get their speed back and needs to be the main villain for the end of the Flash. That's what I want. That's what I'm hoping for.
I'm hoping the Wells Flash becomes the villain, and the Eobard Thawne Reverse Flash becomes the good guy. Like,
okay,
but one of them needs to be good, one of them needs to be bad. I think that because you've set up two very opposite characters as the same character, and that's brilliant. Now follow through.
Okay, I'm on board with that. How about the conversation, though? Let's talk about the conversation that Thawne has with somebody right after Barry leaves, though.
Let me check my notes.
Uh-huh.
Remind me.
Okay.
Oh, God. No, that's stupid. I was saving that to last, but I guess we're at the end, right?
Yeah, I mean, we're pretty much at the end with this. I mean,
there's no other Allegra shit for us to get? Yeah. Okay, so, all right. So we have had 2 seasons. Could we say that this has been 2 seasons of cock teasing of, is Diggle going to take the Green Lantern ring and actually become a Green Lantern?
Is he John Stewart? Because you've even set up his stepfather as last name is Stewart as well.
Yeah, right, exactly. John Stewart, my favorite Green Lantern, because the way I know the Green Lantern is from the cartoon, not even from the comics, and John Stewart was the one in the cartoon. But no, guys, he's not. Doesn't that feel good? Because he gets it, right? He's got the box. He's like, I can't get this open. I need to know. And he goes to Wells, and he's like, help me. And Wells is like, yes, but let me look into it. He's like, yes, okay. And Wells does whatever he does. And then he's like, Diggle literally opens it up and goes, I see that I could be 1,000 other people, but nothing is as good as family. And I miss my family. And then he throws it, and it disappears. And it's like, it's the most anticlimactic thing I've ever seen on one of these shows.
It really, really pissed me off that he turned into pretty much Dom Toretto. Oh, he was family.
And there's flashbacks with him and his kid and him and his wife, and it's like, okay, great. Then why did he spend 2 years ignoring his family, looking to see the origin of this ring and box? Why did he get it and go, family, I'll give it to someone else? Like,
You know what this is, Jason? This is the CW verse pretty much knowing that it's winding down for the most part. And let's close up all loose ends. And this was like the biggest loose end that they had going. And they just decided to come up with some bullshit to end it so they can just wrap up that storyline.
But it's so sad.
It is sad because we were all excited for it. We all wanted it to the point where I was actually still hoping that Diggle was going to be Jon Stewart and appear on Superman and Lois. And maybe he would be the guy there. No. We decided to just kill it now. That's weak. I'm sorry.
You know what I think? I think that when they started it, they were gearing toward, we're going to give him his own show. But as you said, because of the exchange of ownership,
they're selling the CW.
Yeah. Like they're cleaning house on these shows. So I don't think that's what I think happened. I think they went, you know what? We're cleaning house. We're not giving Diggle his own show. Wrap this up or don't. I don't care. I think that was the directive they got, and this is what we got. And it's really sad.
Dude, he could have been Green Lantern on Superman and Lois. Why?
Right.
Why? It's so shitty. Such a stupid way to fucking just. You just had to like throw something out there and just end it. It was pretty disappointing.
Yeah, and I'll be honest, it was a great episode otherwise, but that part of the episode really drags it down.
It did, because I thought we were gonna get maybe a confirmation of like, all right, he's got the ring now. He is, gonna be Green Lantern, and just let him be somewhere else. Sucks, dude.
All right.
Whatever. You got anything else on the Flash before we move to things that don't suck and didn't go ahead and just end something really cool?
Yeah, let's speed away like we're Ezra Miller and the cops are on us. To the next thing.
All right, so yeah, there's 2 episodes left of the Flash. We'll get to those in the next couple of weeks. And Superman and Lois also, they both have 2 episodes left. They're supposed to end simultaneously, so you got that. But over on Amazon Prime, we have The Boys, season 3, episodes 4 and 5. I have never, Jason, in my entire life, seen so many deaths by dildo.
Yes, death by dildo. That should be The Boys, season 3, deaths by dildo.
Death by dildo.
Oh my god, this is. I don't even know where to start. Like, I could start with the solid gold opening of Soldier Boy Sing Rapture, which is where we started, which is brilliant. Like, I don't even know, man.
It is solid gold.
Oh, solid. Yeah, it is solid gold.
Solid gold.
It's such great satire. Everything that goes on in this show. Like, I texted you like 4 times while I was watching it the other night. Because it's just so good. Like, we get. Where do I even start? So let's start with Vought, right? So we get this whole thing where Vought is, I say Vought, I mean Giancarlo Esposito, who is, the head of it. He is convincing his daughter to sort of bring FCC charges on Homelander because he cursed, and we're going to teach him a lesson and this and that. And what she actually does is she pretty much exposes her father for all of the evil shit he's done and forces him to step down. And you think that's going to be a big deal. You think he thinks it's going to be a big deal anyway. But you get probably my favorite scene in both of these episodes with him and Homelander. And he's just sitting there drinking. Homelander comes in, and Homelander's like, yeah, well, I got you and this and that. And he's like, yeah, you did what you had to do. And he's like, I don't blame my daughter. She did what she had to do. He's super cool about it. And he's like, yeah, well, you should have known better. And not like completely ad-libbing. I don't remember what the actual dialogue was. But the best line is he goes, you think you're a god? You're nothing but bad product. I feel bad for you because there's no one left to protect you. And he's like, what? Protect me? I'm Homelander. What? Protect me from what? He's like, protect you from like the way people see you. And he just like leaves. He's just like, fuck you. I don't care. You'll be back.
Yeah. And I think the interesting thing too is, so at this point over these 2 episodes, Homelander is set free. He is not in check. whatsoever. He's doing whatever the fuck he wants, whenever the fuck he wants, however he wants. And you're right. Edgar Stan's point to him is, you're going to expose yourself, and Homelander would, literally.
Yeah, yes.
To everyone here, and then your precious ratings and everything like that, it's going to fall. You're going to destroy yourself without me here to protect you and to keep you in check and save you from yourself.
And he's right. Because
100%.
as we see both of these episodes go along, people are coming to Homelander like they went to him, going, "Hey, what do we do?" He doesn't know what to do. And there was that one scene, and I'm jumping back and forth.
So in the beginning, yeah, it's fine. In the beginning of episode 5,
yeah,
when he had the board meeting,
and he's just asking them for things, and there was the one woman who's like, "You're great, but what are we going to do about this?" And he's like, "What?" And he starts to threaten her. He gets pissed, and her question is legitimate. That's, you've got to think about these things, right? It's all about, like, she's asking, whatever it is about the image and what they're going to do about to save this image, and he like almost kills her.
Well, he's and before she's told to leave, that, "Oh, you're embarrassing." So everyone involved is kissing Homelander's fucking boots at the moment.
Yes,
because they are all petrified of him. And they know he's completely off the reservation, and he would just laser somebody's fucking eyes out in 2 seconds if he really wanted to, as he does with Supersonic at the end of episode 4.
My God, which is terrible. Oh yeah, we could just jump around. I mean, it's terrible because the reason Supersonic gets killed is because he's working with Starlight to sort of. And Maeve, you find out Maeve is super like training and like not drinking, and really like she's becoming a Homelander killing machine for when it's necessary, while pretending to be a drunk. But Starlight's looking, not Starlight, Supersonic's looking for people to sort of bring on, and they see A-Train. And A-Train has been like, he was sidelined, and not just that, but there's like, what's this guy? I actually wrote "fuck you" at the top of my thing. Blue Hawk. I wrote "fuck you, Blue Hawk" on the top of my notes. He talks about this guy, Blue Hawk, who's like being a superhero, but, this is the parallel to, like, the police in black neighborhoods who are abusing their power, right?
Mm-hmm.
He's a superhero in a black neighborhood abusing his power. And he asks Homelander to help him out, and Homelander's like, "Fuck you, I don't care about your people."
Well, and Shun and Deep points it out to him, like, "Oh, you guys have the same, you and Blue Hawk have the same demographic."
Yes.
He's like, "You know something? You're right."
Right.
Whatever. No, it doesn't matter.
Yeah, you're right. You're right, because he even pretends to think about it when the Deep points that out. Mm-hmm. He's like, no. And that causes problems between A-Train and the Deep, and they start fighting in the hall. And Homelander comes in and backs the Deep, and A-Train even says, "Holy shit, you're backing the Deep over me." Like, that's pathetic.
Yeah, A-Train is really in a tough spot.
And so Supersonic is like, "Hey, I know who you are. Come with me." And he fills him in on their plan, and A-Train rats him out to Homelander, and Homelander absolutely murders Supersonic and does this thing where he's like, "Oh, Starlight, come up. I got to show you a great view on the seal in the roof." And he brings up, it's like, "That's your fucking view. Now smile and get yourself home. I'm in charge." It's like I was sitting there going, "Oh my God, this is terrifying."
Yeah, and that's how episode 4 ends. Pretty much like you just see like his face like burnt out and stuff, and his blood everywhere. He savagely murders, and like he tells her, if you don't get in line, and in a public eye, this whole hashtag Homelight thing needs to keep going on, that's gonna be fucking Huey.
Yeah. Oh yes, he does say that's right.
Totally threatens her and says that will be Huey,
and he tells her, "Say it to me. That will be Huey."
Yep. And Homelander is just so. He's just so gone on so many levels.
Oh, absolutely. And I'm really excited to see what brings him down, right? Because he's running Vought, right? And that's not going to go well.
No.
He doesn't know what he's doing, and he doesn't know how to shield himself. And also, the boys are really gunning for him, and they have tapped someone who, I don't know, like, I got to get your opinion on this. Maybe worse than Homelander? Is Soldier Boy?
I don't know, man, because I also want to know more about, like, all right, so we're going to talk about the Butcher, the boys, Soldier Boy thing.
Yeah,
so
I think we'll get to the boys last, but I wanted to just sort of go from Homelander to Soldier Boy.
So Soldier Boy, we find out, is pretty much he is in Russia, and it was kind of what we talked about. It's very much like Winter Soldier type thing. The way they were testing him was insane. They put a gun in his mouth and were firing it because his skin couldn't be penetrated or anything. They were doing God knows what else with him. And then the boys let him out. I mean, Butcher lets him out and lets him free. And and what we learned, though, is that pretty much Butcher is willing to do whatever the fuck it takes to kill Homelander.
Yep.
At this point.
And so is Huey.
So is Huey. Huey and Butcher are on that. And the conflict they have within the boys is that Mother's Milk that's who he believes. I want to know more about him killing his family because I feel like there's still more to that. I wonder if there was a misconception of what happened on Mother's Milk's point or not. I don't know. I don't really know, actually.
See, I don't know. Like, I'm waiting to see when we get an actual look at who Soldier Boy is, because when Soldier Boy actually comes after Crimson Countess, like, the boys set her up, and you find out that actually Huey and Butcher, like, set her up to die.
Yes. Because
they've made a pact with Soldier Boy to kill Homelander. But she says, like, we all hated you. You were terrible. We did that to you, like, because they apparently set him up.
Yeah.
We did that to you because we couldn't deal with you. And I very much got Homelander vibes off of him. Like, so I don't know.
Like he's the OG Homelander.
Yeah, he's the OG Homelander. And, like, they're getting the OG Homelander to fight Homelander. But I don't think that there's going to be some miscommunication. I think he legitimately murdered Mother's Milk's family because whatever reason he saw fit at that moment. Because that is what these guys do, even the best of them.
Yeah, I just want to see more about that because it seems like they've kept that hidden for the most part. But yeah, Soldier Boy, that's pretty much, he's a means to an end right now for Butcher and Huey. And even Starlight's like, this guy's a piece of shit. Like, what are you doing here? And they're just like, well, he's a weapon that they're trying to point in the right direction.
Right.
And because they don't know how else to take down Homelander. And I am really curious to see how that's going to go. Because you even see scenes where Soldier Boy sees Homelander and the Seven on posters and stuff, and he's just like, huh?
What's that? Like, when he comes to New York?
Yeah, and I'm kind of thinking, like, is he thinking that was us in Payback? Like, who the fuck are these newbies? Or is he admiring it in a way? That's what I wonder. If he gets with Homelander and then they see eye to eye or some crazy shit like that, and it's like, oh, fuck.
See, I definitely think they're setting them up to fight.
Yeah.
Just because, do you think Homelander, because this guy is Homelander the OG in my opinion, right? If Homelander woke up and said, hey, someone took my place, even if they had every single dot, and T crossed and agreed with each other 100%, they'd still fight because no one's going to say the other is more powerful. Yeah,
it could be like a dick swinging contest.
Right. I think what's going to happen is that they're going to back Soldier Boy, and Soldier Boy is going to wind up being more powerful than Homelander because he's got that weird, like, shooting thing. Which do we know about that? Like, is that a Russian thing or was that part of his power?
No, they said Butcher says it a couple of times where he's saying that's something that the Russians did to him. That it seems like it gets triggered when he's angry or something like that, and he kind of just lets out some sort of like radiation blast or something like that. And
it's very Winter Soldier.
Yeah, it is. It's very Winter Soldier-ish. And the thing is, it wipes out, it kills 19 people because he lets it off in Manhattan in episode 5. But it also takes away Kimiko's abilities.
Yes, that was the weird thing. Like, she she
can't
can't
anymore.
heal, and she's actually happy about that.
Well, she has that conversation in, what was it, episode 3 or 4 with Homelander's son, and they say, she's like, I wish I didn't have my powers. I hate them. And now she's kind of got her wish granted, but I just wonder what was the... So now we know what we know about Soldier Boy's abilities is that it can apparently take Soup's abilities away, I guess, in a way, or I don't know, or it's just hers. That's still a little bit unclear at this point.
Yeah,
because he murders, it kills Crimson Countess. They show her pretty much. They show her melted.
He murders her, yeah, for sure. I don't think he needed to take her power though to do that. I think maybe like because he touched her, right? He touched Kimiko.
Yeah.
That's how he took it. So I'm willing to bet it's one of those things he doesn't realize he can do.
Mm-hmm.
But it might be one of those things that he absorbs powers and like, because I do think eventually, no matter what, the boys are going to be trying to take down Soldier Boy at the end of season 3.
Yeah, I think they're going to create a monster that they didn't even realize.
And they might even actually have to work with Homelander. Because I think the thing is, if you create something worse than Homelander, one of two things has to happen to Homelander. You kill him, or he helps the good guys take the bad guys down in a weird truce. It doesn't have to be a forever truce.
Yeah. Enemy of my enemy is my friend, or whatever it is.
Exactly. And I don't think they're going to kill Homelander off, and because they shouldn't. That guy's
too
great.
Good. He's too good.
Yeah, I mean, dude, I wish there was an Emmy for face acting because that guy should get it.
I mean,
he's the best face acting on TV.
That's why I want Anthony Starr. I put it up on our Facebook page. I want Anthony Starr to be E-Boy Thawne.
He'd be great as E-Boy Thawne
in the DCU. But we need a Flash though.
Flash. Yeah, he always do that smiling thing.
Dude, I can see it. I can totally see it
so much.
But speaking of Kimiko, though, she has an interesting thing where in episode 4, she is pretty much sent because they're helping little Nina. The boys go to Russia and they're helping little Nina take out some of her people, and they end up going to this douchebag who has a bunch of like prostitutes around him and a collection of the 7 dildos.
Oh my god!
All different shapes and sizes, and she takes them and fucking murders everyone with it. One by one, stabbing people through the fucking head with a dildo.
It's crazy. It's a crazy show, man. It's a crazy show. And you know what? As crazy as that is, it's not the craziest thing that's happened on this show.
Dude, I didn't bat an eye on it. I chuckled for a second. I'm like, well, we did see a guy jump in someone's fucking pee hole a couple episodes ago, so never mind.
I don't even know if I took notes on this point. That's how
it was wild, but that was Butcher using her as a weapon, as a gun, and that's why she doesn't want that. And then she ends up, as we had mentioned, running into Soldier Boy, gets her powers taken away. She's in a hospital, but in episode 5, she kind of has her own fever dream musical thing, which I thought was so cool. Ironic because that's cool. What we're talking about with the Joker.
Yep. Oh, absolutely. It had Joker vibes. Like that conversation we were having.
Yeah. So, yeah, her and Frenchie, pretty much, she has this whole thing where she starts singing and dancing all along the hospital, and everyone is there, and it's a whole musical number that they have, which I thought was hilarious.
Yeah, that was hysterical. And again, it really fits into the tone of this show because it goes crazy on all ends.
But it all works somehow.
It absolutely does. I wanted to point out just one thing because before we get off episode 4, I know we're episode 4, but when Homelander orders up the taco bowls,
yes,
for Supersonic, and says, "These are the best taco bowls in the city in this building."
Yes.
I don't want to mention anything about that. I just wanted to point out that scene and say it was an interesting scene.
Yeah. God, he is such a douchebag. He's such a good douchebag.
He's wonderful. He's absolutely wonderful.
So let's talk about Butcher in episode 5, though. And he has his informant, which is Queen Maeve, who goes at it and brings him more of the V24.
Yep. And that's where you find out that she's been in training And
Yeah.
she's been like, she's like, I haven't drank in 2 months, and I
4
put
months.
this 4 months. There you go.
Yeah.
And she's like, I pretend that I'm this, but I'm really in training. We're going to take him down. And then who goes down, Ed? Who goes down in that scene?
I mean, Butcher does. I'm assuming there was more to it. I actually know it's funny. I had to rewatch the scene because I wasn't sure if Butcher ended up like taking the V because he ends up having sex with Maeve.
Yeah, wait, does he take
drunk.
the V?
No,
he take
doesn't.
the V?
He doesn't.
Okay.
He doesn't.
Because I didn't see that at all. I just thought they were having the sex.
No, they do, and it's pretty, it's pretty intense. And I thought it was an interesting scene, and she's all like, oh, because he keeps on shitting on her, not literally, because in this show we know that would probably, that's a thing.
This isn't Das Boys.
Yes, this is
The
not.
Boys. If this were Das Boys in Germany, maybe.
So there's a whole back and forth of like, you're a soup, you're a cunt, you're a right cunt. We know, but they're just going back and forth. And of course, she's like, oh, you think you're too good for me and stuff like that. And then they go at it. But there is an interesting conversation before that, though, when they're drinking the vodka next to each other, where he's like, dude, like he's telling Maeve, this V, cocaine, no drug alive is like this. Like, it's that addictive. It's that crazy. And he's just like blown away by it. But then he comes to this realization, though, that he's like, it just brings more of you out. It doesn't make you an asshole, or like he says, a right cunt. He doesn't make you like that. It brings out who you are. So I became more of me. And he explains to the soups, like Homelander was this person. It's just made him more of who it is.
Right.
And that I was really interested by that whole conversation.
No, that was a cool conversation. I think that's something that they're kind of foreshadowing, like, this is it. It's not the powers that make you bad. It's you're a bad person. And I think Starlight is the person who shows that, right? Because Starlight is the soup who isn't the bad person.
Yeah.
It's not everyone with powers who becomes a piece of garbage. And some people with powers, without powers, are pieces of garbage. Like Butcher. Butcher will tell you he's a right cunt, right?
Well, that's what he says. He goes, with great power becomes the right to become a right cunt.
Right.
He literally goes with the whole Spider-Man quote right there.
Oh, Peter, come here, Peter. Oh, I'll go. Peter, I'm about to die. I'm Uncle Ben here. I'm Uncle fucking Butcher Ben. And I'm going to tell you something. With great power becomes a right to become a right cunt. Don't become a right cunt, Peter, all right? All right, I'm about to die now. You killed me. Do right by me. Go fuck yourself. If Butcher were Uncle Ben.
If Butcher were Uncle Ben. Well done.
Thank you.
I also do wonder if they're gonna follow up on this at all with Maeve and Butcher. Is it like a thing? Is it gonna reference it, or is it really just a one-off? Like,
no,
fuck?
I don't think like this will be played out throughout the season. Maybe it might not go beyond this season, but something will happen. Like this show usually is very good with setting up things and following through in the season. Yeah,
they don't forget things. But though, there's another great conversation in episode 5 with her and Homelander, where she tells him, "I hated you since day one.
Oh,
I've
God,
always
yeah.
hated you."
Because he tells her, he's like, "Look, I loved you. I mean, in the way that I can love someone." Like, he's really honest about that.
Yeah.
And you're right. She's like, "I hated you from day one."
Yeah, and I pity you. And they have that really deep conversation, but then fucking Black Noir comes from behind and fucking pretty much kidnaps her.
Yes.
And that's where no one knows where Maeve is at the end of episode 5. So I'm curious to see what happens there.
Yeah, I mean, and I'm sure we're led to think Homelander knows, right?
Homelander totally had her kidnapped and remember he's in charge of Vought, and I'm sure Noir is doing whatever he says.
Right, so, exactly.
Yeah, him and Deep are definitely following their team Homelander at this point.
God. But we do get A-Train stuff. We got to talk about some A-Train stuff because he's a prick in that 4th episode, and he really, really feels bad about it in the 5th episode when, I'm sorry, what is his name? Fuck you, Blue Hawk. That's what I call him. They set up a whole thing where so he helps Homelander, and Homelander's like, okay, well, I'm going to set up a thing with you and Blue Hawk. I'm going to make Blue Hawk come to your your black neighborhood and apologize. And Blue Hawk does it, but he's like, yeah, soup lives matter, and hey, if they like, he pretty much gives the whole like spiel of everyone who is like anti, human being and pro cop. They should have just done this. They should have just done that. And then he kills but he doesn't kill. He hurts a whole bunch of people. And A-Train is like, wow, A-Train does have a moment.
Yeah, no, he does. But that moment comes when he finds out his brother's paralyzed.
Yes, absolutely. Because he throws he's hurting people. And he throws his brother, one of the people he throws is his brother. And yeah, he's absolutely paralyzed. So I don't know, how do you feel about A-Train after this? Like, is this, do you think it's built into a hero moment or a redemption moment?
No, it's fine. I don't really know. I think it's hard to know with A-Train because it seems like he's had a few moments to do the right thing and he never does.
Right.
He ends up selling out constantly.
I thought the last one was his redemption moment.
I just wonder if this is it because now your brother's paralyzed because you failed to act. Like, literally, you failed to act.
Yeah.
So I wonder if this is it. Based on what we know of A-Train, no. He's gonna seem like he's gonna do the right thing, but then once Homelander fat shames him next time or some shit like that, then he's gonna cower and end up doing it. Or I mean, he's gonna try to do the right thing, and then Homelander's gonna kill him or something like that.
Yeah, which I'd much rather. I'd much rather him be killed by Homelander trying to do the right thing, because at this point, his redemption, if he has a redemption arc, he needs to die at the end. He's done terrible shit. Like, don't forget that this show starts off with him on a coke binge, killing Huey's girlfriend or fiance just because he ran too fast, and then laughing about it in the club the next day.
Oh, listen, there's no ultimate. There's no ultimate thing where A-Train comes out of this and redeemed. There's not. He's done too much shit already.
Yeah.
There's not.
Absolutely.
No. Not at all.
All right. The only other thing I have to mention is Paul Reiser is in this episode, guys. Do you remember Paul Reiser from Mad About You in the 90s?
Legend.
He is, and he's in this, and he's awesome. There are a whole bunch of pictures that he shows of young Paul Reiser that I couldn't help but think, like, are these from your collection or were these like CGI?
I'm going to tell you the truth. I think they were from his collection. He probably does.
I think they were too.
I think they totally were. Dude, it was awesome seeing him as the legend here. Who was like the old guy who used to be in charge of like Vought or like at least the branding thing.
Yeah, right. Yeah, he was the guy before Giancarlo Esposito, right? Where like he was the but he was like a big guy.
It was Elizabeth Shue's character.
That's right. He was the guy before Elizabeth Shue. That's right.
Yeah.
And I love that he makes the Kelly LeBrock thing.
Yeah.
Big L, Big B, Little Rest, Kelly LeBrock.
He has this that whole line he has with Marlon Brando and everything. Like, I was in there, or he was in me. Oh, what? That's gay now? Fuck off. Whatever. I thought that was great. That was fucking hilarious.
That was hysterical. But yeah, so I loved seeing Paul Reiser there. I loved him and his character. And I guess what happened to him? Do we know?
No. The legend just pretty much hooks them up with information because apparently he works with the boys and gives them intel. But there's another cameo in this that's bonkers. Seth Rogen.
Oh God. Yes. Oh my God. I forgot about that.
Who's a producer on the show. I mean, obviously this is like his baby, so he's going to pop in randomly.
And that's because Crimson Countess does porn.
So what did it say? What was it called?
What is it?
Soup porn something?
Yeah, well, let's see if I.
She pretty much does on-camera porn as a soup.
It's pretty much like I don't actually know the porn website. Sorry, but there's something like where
she does live camera stuff. Or
whatever the live camera porn thing is, it's a play on that soup porn or something.
Yeah, and Seth Rogen appears as the guy, and he's got like the whole tissue box and shit there, and the whole cream or whatever he's using on the side, and his name is Sir Comes-a-Lot 4 or some shit like that.
Hysterical. He's looking skinny, man. Seth Rogen's lost some weight.
No, he has. I mean, it seems like him and Jonah Hill, they can just kind of like do the whole weight on. Listen, if you're an actor or whatever, you can do the whole weight transfer thing. They'll say, hey, you got to this date, get to this weight, and you're there. But I love the fact that he appears he appeared in was it season 1 or 2 of The Boys also as a totally different character, and he just keeps popping up out of nowhere because again, him and his boy Evan Goldberg they're pretty much the people who created this for TV and stuff. So they're big fans of the comics. So it's great to see them jump in randomly in the most obscure places you would never imagine.
Yeah, no, it's great to see him, and I love the fact that he just shows up in these weird places. Like, I was watching that and I'm like, is Seth Rogen masturbating to? Okay, well, hey, it's The Boys. That's where we are now.
Yep, no questions asked anymore. You just kind of roll with it and that's it. Oh man.
But yeah, so was there anything we didn't hit? Because it was a lot. I mean, I lost track because it was just so much in those 2 episodes.
No,
is there anything we didn't hit?
No, I think we got to everything. Two episodes is a lot because there's so much going on in this show, but not in a bad way.
I got 5 pages of notes. That's why I keep looking over and I'm like, I don't even know where I am because there's so much to talk about.
Yeah, but we'll see. I'm assuming there's going to be 8 episodes. So, yeah. Jason, wildly enough, we only got 3 left. And
That's it?
God. I mean, it's episode 5, so 6, 7, 8.
Yeah.
It's the first 2 seasons were both 8 episodes, so I'm assuming the episode counts.
So much happens in these episodes. That's what it is. It's so
no waste of time. No waste of time, man. All right, so let's go ahead and shift gears completely tonally to Ms.Marvel episode 2, which dropped on Disney Plus last Wednesday. Yeah, I think again another super fun episode of it. I mean, they start diving more into where maybe Kamala got her powers from or not, or its origin. But again, like we talked about Naomi, though, they're not slow playing it to a crawling pace.
Yeah,
this is the way you should pace it.
Yeah, you're not waiting a season of 24 episodes to find, or 12 or whatever, to find out what she got her powers. You're kind of finding out in the end of the second.
Yeah, it's pretty. I think it's clear, but there are some questions which I want to run by you too.
For sure.
And let's see where we go. But I do love the fact that the opening to this episode is, and it was one of the considerations for our opening music, but I hate Mace so much I couldn't bring myself to do it, so I had to skip it. But Kamala, after the last episode, she busts into school. She's super confident. But what I love about it, though, is that she's so confident in her own mind, because you see the reactions of all the classmates are like, what the fuck is wrong?
Yeah.
What the hell happened to her? She's flipping her hair. She's there. She's like doing the whole hand thing and like stopping all this other crap. So I think that was pretty awesome to say. It was really funny. But then she referenced, yes, in our conversation with Bruno, she makes this awesome Paul Rudd reference where she's like, yeah, I was kind of testing it out. I was trying to talk to ants and I was trying to do this. And he was like, why are you trying to be Ant-Man? Like, what made you think of this? Well, she was like, he is a lot older than he appears, and so am I. And I thought that was a great Paul Rudd reference that I thought was hilarious.
That was awesome.
But then she gets into school, though, and everything kind of comes crashing down when she sees the popular girl Zoe there, and she's surrounded by a bunch of people, and she's getting a limelight of, oh, I was saved by a superhero and this and that, and she trusted me. So no one's acknowledging that she was the one who actually did it and was the one there, which what she thought she was walking into. So I thought that was pretty hilarious. But Zoe decides she's going to throw a party, and it was going to be to acknowledge the fragileness of life itself.
Right.
Which I thought was great. And she invites this senior to the party who has caught Kamala's eye.
Yes.
And she's like, at first she's like, no, we're not going to that party. Fuck that party. Oh, wait, he's going. Yeah, no, we're going to that party.
Yes, and her friend is not happy about that. Ryan is his name, or Brian?
No,
or
Bruno.
Bruno. He's called Brian. That's what it is.
Yes.
The Kamala, the guy who tries to pick up Kamala, and hangs out with
Cameron.
them.
Yeah.
Cameron. He calls him Brian. But yeah, Bruno. Bruno's not happy because Bruno has a thing for her. Bruno's in love with her. Like Bruno actually gets a scholarship. He gets this scholarship to Caltech to go. And it's funny because his guidance counselor's like, have you ever seen a movie? Well, the part of the movie where the main character gets that groundbreaking news where everything's going right and you can just go and start your life. Well, that's this part. You're the main character. This is the movie. And he's like, I don't know if I can. And it's because he doesn't want to leave Kamala.
Exactly. And it is setting up a legit teenage drama. I mean,
absolutely.
We were there many years ago. There's shit like that going on, and he's got to ponder that situation. But yeah, they definitely set up that he has a crush on Kamala. He's in the friend zone, not intentionally. I don't think Kamala's doing it in a mean way at all.
No, I think
it's just what it is.
It's her friend, and maybe she could see him in a different light, but she hasn't. She doesn't.
No, not yet.
Someone's got to change that, or not. But that's the thing. He's in love with her. She's not in love with him. She's got this other thing going on. That's teenage shit,
Yeah, exactly. But legit teenage shit we could actually buy, not to keep on making parallels with Naomi, but this is just doing it the right way. But they do go to train. Kamala and Bruno decide to go train, and they do find out some interesting facts. Though, is that Bruno finds out that the power is coming from within Kamala. It's not the Bengal that's giving her the power. He's maybe it unlocks it. So that's what I wanted to ask you, though. So in the comics, she's inhuman. She's an inhuman, Kamala Khan, and she gets exposed to a Terrigen Mist, which for those of you, I am one of the select few who saw Inhumans in the awful MCU show. Is one of the really rare bad misses that they've had, but that's kind of what happens. Do you think they're going to go ahead and we're going to find out that Kamala Khan is inhuman and the Bengal unlocked it? Maybe.
I don't know if they'll call it inhuman. I don't know.
Do you think they might be scared of saying that?
Right, because it didn't work. And if they do call it inhuman, I think they'll treat it a different way. But I think when it comes down to it, she's an inhuman. She had the whole thing about the Inhumans is they have inner power that the Terrigen Mist unlocked. Well, it wasn't Terrigen Mist. It was this Bengal. And this Bengal apparently unlocked the power for her grandmother. Is that or
her great-grandmother, which I wanted to get into shortly, is that I think that's being spelled out for us, right? Through the stories that are told, through this throughout the episode, they really, to me, they hammer it home where it's like the great-grandmother had this Bengal, had these abilities as well, and now Kamala has it also. So that's where I think that's where it is. And at one point, when she's using her abilities, I believe she sees her great-grandmother in a vision at that point. And because they don't spell out who it is, but we're on the same page. That's what we believe it is. And that's what's happening here. It's all coming full circle, and she has that. What I will say, though, about the Inhuman part is, so we just saw Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness not long ago, and they do acknowledge that Black Bolt, they did go as far as to cast the same actor that was on that failed show as Black Bolt again, be it a different Black Bolt, from a different reality. So they're not totally hiding from the Inhumans. So that's where I'm like, maybe she is, maybe she isn't.
Maybe? I don't know. We'll see what they do.
That's the curveball I got thrown where I was like, oh. Because if that didn't happen, I would have been like, yeah, she's not going to be Inhuman. They're just going to say it. She will be without saying the word.
But did they say Inhuman in Doctor Strange? I don't remember.
They didn't say it, but they did cast the guy as Black Bolt again.
But he looked very different.
No, he had a comics accurate costume this time around. Yeah. As opposed to the show. He had some weird jacket and I don't know, so stupid. But it's one
I've never seen that show.
I can't even say to hate watch it. You shouldn't even hate watch it.
Wow,
it's just
bad, huh?
Dude, it's bad. It's really bad on every level. It's so bad. All right, so we got that. Now, I think the interesting thing is that so Kamala and her friend they show that they head to a mosque, and we kind of get some insight of what that is like. I personally never been to one, but I was interested to see what that what that looks like. And her and her friend apparently there's the men are sitting up front and their area is pristine, and the women are sitting in the back and they can like kind of barely see what's going on there, and they're complaining about how the stuff is falling apart. There's mold. There's things like that. It's not being well kept. And Kamala, sees up front where she's like, "Hey, I can barely see you. It's kind of hard to focus what's going on." So she's voicing her opinion, which gets acknowledged. And there is that. And she encourages a friend. You should kind of run to maybe change things around here. You could be the face of change. So they do have that kind of a conversation. And an interesting thing was that, when they take their shoes off before they go in, there was a shoe thing and there's a gag made that her friend's shoes got stolen. They're like very nice and expensive shoes. And a random girl comes by and she's like, "The mosque shoe thief has returned and struck again," which I thought was kind of funny there.
That was pretty awesome. And it's funny because she had said like it's happened, like I've brought like
22 times.
22 times and 22 times they've been stolen. And there was a girl who just comes up and goes, "Yeah, well, like this is just what happens." So I thought that was really fun.
Yeah, and it was like the female point of view of, I guess what it is to be in a mosque and thing. So I thought that was cool. But then they head to the party and they meet Cameron there. He's doing some like crazy Rick Cedrez dive off of into the water because he does that kind of shit.
Dude, I completely thought of Rick, like going up like that ladder, like to dive into a pool that you should actually not survive, but you do when you look hot doing it. That's a Rick Cedrez move.
He does flips and backflips and God knows what else. I just do cannonballs and that's pretty much it.
I just look at the water and go, "That's too much for me, kids."
But then the cops show up immediately. Well, Kamala sees him come out of the water. She has like the visions of like fire all over him and everything, and
awesome.
He's 100, and she's like, she's completely smitten by the guy. But then they introduce each other. They're having a bit of a moment there, and then they got to get out of there because the cops are pretty much busting the underage party. Jump in a car. He's got his uncle's like awesome car. They're driving away, and Kamala's sitting in the front. They're having a talk. They bond over like liking the same Bollywood films, and of course Bruno pops in and is like, "Yeah, I've seen one."
Yeah,
it was very pleasant. He's using some like ridiculous thing there, but he drops them off and is like, "Listen, pretty much here's my number." They exchange numbers and stuff, and
it's funny because he insinuated.
Yes, he was all about it.
Because you would think that, like, she obviously has the crush on him. You would think, like, they're setting up, like, oh, wow, that's never quite a crush. But, like, he's like, "Oh, hey, you like the car? You like to drive? Let me give you my number.
Mm-hmm.
Call me. I'll teach you how to drive." So they kind of set up, like, no, there's something here.
Yeah, no, it's definitely reciprocated right there. So they're on the same page. He calls Bruno by the wrong name. I think he calls him, like, Billy or something like that and whatever. So he's really, not thrilled about this. You had mentioned the situation where he gets accepted to Caltech, and then right after that, Bruno does pick up Kamala from school, and Bruno thinks they're going to go training, kind of brushes him off to the side. So, yeah, and then they go and they're doing some driving and stuff. They're talking. They go to get something to eat. And did you catch the Eternals Easter egg here?
No.
So when they're having the conversation when they go to eat and they run into her brother and they're trying to like duck him and everything. Before that, they're talking and they're like, "Yeah, I'm trying to remember who says it. I think he says it to her, where he's like, "Yeah, let me guess, your grandmother or your mother has a crush on Kingo."
Oh,
and it's like, and she's like, "Yeah, but my grandmother, she liked Kingo Senior." And this and that, because how he went through time.
Right.
And it was like,
I did catch that. I just forgot about it.
And Cameron even says, he's like, "Yeah, I don't know what it is about them. They kind of all look the same. They all look very much alike and so young and everything." So that was a really awesome Eternals Easter egg. That was
awesome.
So yeah, apparently the grandmothers and the mothers and everyone else all have crushes on Kingo.
Which is that's hysterical. But I think what's great about this scene too is you see her and this guy, and they're like, "Oh, let's hide because my brother is here and he can't see us." And then he just comes in because her brother is wise and her brother knows everything. And he sees him, and you meet her brother's fiance, right? They're not married yet, or
they're not married yet. They're gonna get married.
And her brother's like, "Who's this?" And she's like, "Oh, this is our cousin." It's like our cousin, as in mine and yours and mine. Our cousin, yes, our cousin. And she's like, it is Uncle such and such. And he's like, oh, Uncle such and such doesn't come. He comes from India. How come you have an English accent? And he starts doing the Indian accent. He's like, oh, okay, well, yeah, hey, great to see you. I remember you now. Like, I thought that was a very fun scene.
Because weren't you looking at some funny things online and everything? Right. And he gives him like a nickname. I thought that was really funny. The brother's great. He's really funny.
The brother's hysterical.
But then they go back home. They're having dinner, and they start talking about partition stories that are there. And apparently, Kamala's mother has some stories, and that's when they were talking about her great grandmother was got back on a train, and no one really knew how. And she's like, yeah, I just kind of followed these diamonds and jumped on all these diamonds. And that's how I got back to my father at the time. Meanwhile, you're like, no, she had the bangle. She had these glowing things, and they were diamonds. And that's what I'm saying. Like, the great grandmother had the ability.
Of course.
Kamala goes ahead to confirm after this because no one believes her. But apparently, the thing is that her mother and her whole family seemed to be shunning this story because it brought shame to her family. And you're like, she was kind of right the whole time. She didn't get all this wild imagination because that's why Kamala's mother is so protective of Kamala. Like, I've seen what happens. At one point she says, I've seen what happens when people get run away with their imaginations and they make these like wacky stories and they make fools of us. And I have to go around. I had to move halfway around the world to get away from it. It's like, she was telling the truth, buddy.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe shouldn't be so ashamed.
But it's also, I don't think it's even about the truth or not. I think it's about like that person and their family did something different, and that was shameful. Because a friend of mine at work who I was talking with us about this, she said, my theory is that the Kamala is just going the things that got this woman excommunicated is the things that Kamala is going through. And it's just being an individual. Just this is who I am.
Yeah.
And that brought the shame. So I think that's where I agree with that. I think that's where we're going with this.
Okay. Yeah, I could buy into that too. But then Kamala calls her nanny immediately on the phone, and she's asking her about it. And she has this funny scene where she goes ahead and like uses her powers to slam the door so her father can't get it and stuff like that. The father, I love him.
I love her father. Her father is such a great doof. Like,
yeah,
like the only thing I don't like Kamala Khan about is she didn't let her father go to AvengerCon with her dressed as the Hulk because the man was really excited about it. And come on, they shouldn't have made her dress like the Hulk. They should have let her dress like she wanted. But bring your dad. Let him dress as the Hulk. He's gonna have fun.
I hope by the end of this he does get to do that again and revisit that.
Me too. He's like I go back and forth liking her mother depending on the scene, but I always like her dad.
Oh, her dad's great. Her dad's great. I would totally hang out with her dad. I would take him to Avengers Con with me, no problem.
I would dress as young Hulk for him.
Oh, for sure. We got a quick comment here. Izzy, what's up, dude?
Izzy, good to see you.
Izzy from the Izzyverse here. Hey guys, didn't know you guys were on today? Yeah, we've been jumping around a little bit. Some jackass here has just been busy on Wednesday, so he's been preempting this. But no, Ms.Marvel has been a lot of fun to watch, and yeah, we'll look forward to it. We'll have to talk and get you on here soon so we can chat about an episode
for sure.
Yeah, so pretty much then Damage Control shows up. It's the DODC, Department of Damage Control. They're back. They were mentioned in Spider-Man Homecoming. We saw them a little bit in Spider-Man No Way Home, but apparently they're very much involved in this. And they start questioning Zoe about her situation and trying to like get details on it. And then they do come back at the end, which we'll get to in a second. But Kamala, by the way, I thought she goes with her friend to this whole thing where there's like it's a neighborhood thing, and there's people there and there's different cliques, and I like how they name each clique that's there.
That is my favorite part of this episode.
The Illuminantes.
The Illuminantes, that's the best. That is the best. But because I have no idea about how Muslim culture works. I just don't. I didn't grow up there. I don't know it. But watching that scene, that is my favorite scene. Just watching them plan, like, okay, you're going to talk to this group. I'm going to talk to this group. We're going to do this. We're going to hit this. We're going to hit that. Having nothing to do with the superpower stuff, I was like, this is super interesting.
It is. I'm hoping I'm learning. I was actually talking to, I was texting my friend Ashif and my friend Pro, who I would like to have them guest on here. I want to know the accuracy of what we're seeing here.
Oh yeah, fantastic! I'd love that.
And they're both big comic book guys too, but Pro's got kind of like a newborn going on, so he's dealing with that. Ashif, if you're watching this, get your butt on here. We already talked about it earlier. So,
come on, we'd love to hear the reality of it.
Yeah. So, the whole the Illuminantes was great.
That was the best.
But then in front of it, though, we do see this kid who's playing around with a phone, doing what kids do from high up, and he ends up he's about to fall, and he's got himself into trouble, and Kamala springs into action. What I love of the fact is that this little girl, she's adorable with this whole thing. She suits up and puts on her cosplay Captain Marvel suit to go save the day and be a hero. And she goes ahead and she does it. She does the whole thing with the,
she kind of does it.
She kind of does
up a bit.
No,
which is endearing.
Yeah, at first she goes ahead and it looks like she's doing her thing, and she kind of saves them, and everyone's, hey, and the Illuminantes are there, and everyone's like, and then she loses focus, and of course, then the kid, almost falls to his death. But it looks like he just sprained his ankle a little bit.
Right. But it was cool because she's like, no, bang, bang, bang. And she just keeps throwing the platforms down, and he hits it and rolls off, and she keeps having to throw another one down. So it's like, yeah, she saved his life, but that kid is hurting.
Oh, yeah, for sure. There was no way it was going to be like crystal clear.
But you know what, though? Fuck you if you're going to complain about that, because that kid was dead otherwise.
And listen, this is a junior in high school she's probably 16, 17 years old.
Juniors in high school are 15, 16. I teach
15, 16. So there you go. 16. She's trying to save the day and be a superhero. I mean, come on now. Whatever. Listen, Peter Parker he had plenty of fuck ups too, so it is what it is. The effort's there.
Yeah.
Okay.
The effort's there. She saved that kid's life, all right?
Exactly.
That kid should have been trying to take a picture out a window.
Exactly. But during this though, the bangle lights up though, and she sees the vision of who we believe is her great grandmother, and that's when she gets distracted, and that's when the kid falls. But by the way, she also flips over and does the superhero pose, which I thought was
awesome.
That was awesome. But then apparently the Department of Damage Control shows up, and they're trying to they got drones after her, and they're trying to bring her in.
Man, oh my God! When she gets in that alley and the drones are coming, and she's kind of kicking those drones' ass, which I'm like, I don't know how she learned to do that, but I don't care. It looks cool.
No, I think she's just screwing out. It's like the fist and stuff.
Yeah, you're right. She's just
punching at it. Yeah, she's not doing anything technical. But she's just trying to do anything to get out of the way.
I did love that. I loved how she avoids them, and then they almost get her, and then who shows up, Ed? Cameron
shows up in his car, and she jumps in there, and then apparently his mother's in the backseat, waiting to meet her. So now you're almost like, she was set up from the beginning.
For sure.
Or was she? We don't really know for sure, because that's when the episode ends.
I think that his mother also had the bangle or knows of the bangle. That's it. That's the connection. I think she was set up. I think the reason he was getting to know her was because his mother set him on this path. But I think I hope she's not part of the family. I hope they're really not cousins, because they did run that scam, and that would be weird, especially since she's attracted to him. But I do think there's a sisterhood of the bangle or something. You know what I mean? That's what I think this is going.
All right, I could go with that.
So let me ask you this question, because I had this thought. Like, I really think this show lives or dies on or lived or died, like the success of it. It's past now, but
yeah.
on the charm of the actress they cast as Kamala Khan.
Oh, for sure.
Right? And they
sure.
cast her perfectly, but I think if they cast it wrong, this would have fallen apart right away, right?
It's hard for me to imagine someone else playing Kamala Khan right now. No, a lot of the show's success is off of her charm and everything and her charisma.
Because she's so perfect. And
that's the thing.
She's so good. She's so, like, innocent and naive in a way that, like, you don't really get.
Yeah, even that little scene where the kid at the party passes her the cup and is like, oh, yeah, this is just orange juice. And she sips vodka, right. And she's like, wait, am I drunk? Am I drunk?
Am I drunk? It's like, well, A, you should have known there was vodka in that because someone at a party gave it to you. And B, no, you're not drunk. You took a sip.
Well, like you said, though, both things are because she's just naive. I mean,
but that's the thing. Yeah, she's so naive. But I just think the actress they got to play her, I think, just, I don't know, she really does a perfect job. And I love watching these videos where she just gushes about being a fan of the MCU.
Oh, yeah, I tweeted one to you.
You did, yeah, the one where she's talking about Robert Downey Jr. She's like, I can't meet him. No, they'll fire me.
Yeah, dude, if you get a chance, or anyone out there, you get a chance, watch her. Her name is Iman Vellani. She, when the first episode dropped, she did like the tour of the talk shows and stuff. Watch her interview with Jimmy Fallon.
Okay.
It's hilarious of how, like, just check that out and get back to me. It's great. I think Tim may have put it on our Facebook page. That's how I got put onto it.
I'll check it out.
No, she's adorable on that. She's hilarious. But yeah, apparently she's a super fan of that.
I love it. I love that a super fan has become part of the MCU.
Yeah. Actually, let me get to a couple of comments here by Izzy. He's got his Thor tickets.
Nice.
So do I. Jason will talk, and I all finds we do got to talk about the. Yeah, we're not going to cover. Yeah, we're not going to cover Umbrella Academy on here because we just have a lot of other stuff to cover. But yeah, I've heard good things. I actually have not watched Umbrella Academy just yet. They are Inhumans, and the bands are nega bands. Possibly. Well, that's what we chatted about before. Is that we're not sure if the MCU is going to go with Inhumans or not Inhumans. There's precedence in the comics for it, but I'm just not sure, how much Kevin Feige wants to acknowledge the existence of Inhumans. So, or accuse our bands, maybe. I'm assuming we're going to learn in episode 3. So, because they're not dragging this out, unlike other shows. So,
yeah.
Yes. But yeah, no, I really enjoyed it. But I agree with you, though. A lot of it does go on her shoulders. And she's done it, and this is her acting debut. Like, has no previous work before.
Amazing. The fact that this is this actress's acting debut, and they put a whole show again on her shoulders, and she's carrying it. She's doing the work. She's kicking ass. So I'm excited to see where it goes. I really like her a lot. Like, I cannot stress that enough. I think she is so charming and so good in this role. I couldn't imagine a more perfect Kamala Khan.
No, and we're going to see her in The Marvels, which is the Captain Marvel sequel, because she will be in it with... And I am dying for the moment on screen when she meets Carol Danvers for real. Whether if it's in a season finale of this, or if it's in that movie.
The movie, doesn't matter.
That's gonna be great.
Because she's going to be so happy.
Of course she is. And some of that's going to be probably genuine, because I know in one of the interviews she talks about when she met Brie Larson, and she kind of like fangirled out over it, so I think that was great.
She's just going to channel that inner fangirl and let it go.
Yeah, for sure. All right, so we'll see with that. And now, let's get to our movie of the week.
Wow.
Here it is. Our movie of the week, which we're getting to...
Dark World.
Yeah, we're going through our reviews of the Thor movies before we get to Thor, Love and Thunder in a couple of weeks, which is right around the corner. So next week, we will be talking some Thor Ragnarok. But you don't get Ragnarok until you get to the Dark World first. And put on our teaser, that is the somewhat infamous Thor the Dark World. I know Jader on our show previously has talked about his absolute disdain for this film. I know this is pretty much one of the black sheep of the MCU. When I first saw this movie, I actually was cool with it for a while. I'm going to be completely honest. I don't hate this movie. I don't. I never did. I still don't. But I think I can see now why I have some issues with it. And I can understand why some people do not like it and why it gets the shit it gets. It's not going to get it from me, but I understand, I think, more why people kind of shit on this movie.
Yeah, I have to admit, I did not like this movie when I first saw it. It was for a very long time at the bottom of my MCU list. I rewatched this for the show, and I went, I don't love this movie, but I don't dislike it either. Like, it's no longer at the bottom of my list. I actually see what this movie was trying to do. I appreciate it. I think I like it more than the original Thor. I'm not a big fan of that original Thor.
Hot take.
Like, that's a hot take for me. I'm not a big fan of that original Thor. Like, here's the thing. Here's my opinion on everything wrong with what they do with Thor in the MCU. Bring him to Earth. Everything they do right, keep him away from Earth. Except in Avengers movies. I mean, I'm talking Thor solo movies.
Yes.
Right? So, Ragnarok is, I think you and I agree, it's our favorite Thor, correct?
No, for sure. No, I'm with you 100% on that.
Yeah.
And I like the first Thor. 2 weeks ago, yeah.
Right, but where in Ragnarok, where does Thor not go?
Well, he's very briefly on Earth.
All right.
Very briefly.
All right, fine. Fair enough.
Very briefly. But I get your point. I get your point.
All right. And then because I think what works in this movie is everything not on Earth. Like this, like all the stuff in the Dark World. I mean, what am I talking about? It's called Thor: The Dark World. All the stuff in the Dark World. This is the MCU trying to give us a like Lord of the Rings type fantasy, right? In the MCU, and we always applaud the MCU for trying to give us these different genres.
Yeah,
and I think a lot of the stuff in the Dark World when he's there works. I think the stuff that doesn't work is that shit of like, oh, well, we got it back to Earth. And then there's this whole thing in this whole space-time curvature in Earth. And, oh, my God, Natalie Portman needs to be in this movie for reasons. So she's in this movie. And so I used to hate this movie. I don't anymore. I actually think it is the second best Thor movie to this date. Because, again, what is my big problem with Thor movies? Thor on Earth. Where does Thor 1 mostly take place?
All right, I'm going to disagree with you on that part of it.
Yeah, I knew you would. You would.
You know, well, whatever. We talked about the original Thor not long ago on the show.
We did.
So
it's a fine movie.
Yes, you know, I liked it. I think out of the Phase 1 MCU movies, it's not the top part of it. I mean, I think it's better than I like it more than Iron Man 2.
Yeah, fair enough.
And that.
But like I like a lot.
It is. I guess it is. I think I do like it more than the Incredible Hulk. But I also, we talked about this. We didn't review it, but spoiler for whenever that day comes and we find the right time. I do like the Incredible Hulk. I haven't watched it in a while, but I enjoyed the Incredible Hulk for what it was.
Right. Yeah, we have had that conversation.
Yeah. So, but as far as Thor movie, no, Thor: The Dark World is my least favorite Thor movie. I don't hate it. I just think that, yes, I agree with you. The MCU at this time is swinging for something completely different. You hired Alan Taylor to direct this off of Game of Thrones.
Yep.
And
it's very Game of Thrones-esque.
From what it appears to be, from the Asgard stuff, because you notice like Asgard is a lot darker in this film, like costume-wise and everything else. I think that's the look they were going for. Game of Thrones was red hot at this time. So that is also something that the MCU does, is they go for kind of sometimes what's hot at the moment, what's working, which is smart. And they went for that. And the original director of this, though, was Wonder Woman director.
Patty Jenkins?
Patty Jenkins. Yeah, sorry. Her name was just escaping me at the moment. Patty Jenkins was supposed to direct Thor: The Dark World.
I would love to see that.
I was going to ask you, though, I would be curious to see that, but remember, with Patty Jenkins, we've had a huge success in Wonder Woman, and then we got Wonder Woman 84.
I'm not going to say it would be better. I'm just saying I would love to see it.
Yeah. I would be curious to see what her version of Thor: The Dark World would have looked like.
I'd love to see it, but I don't know if it would be any better. I'm sorry. I was looking at the comments. My bad.
Yeah.
But no, I mean, I can't, like, here's the thing. I don't love this movie. I can name 5 MCU movies I would rather watch this. Like, I'd rather watch this instead of. And so that's why I'm like, it's not my favorite anymore. It's not my least favorite anymore. I think it does something interesting. And I think too, like, my big problem with Thor is the movie Thor doesn't yet understand Thor or Loki. And I don't fault the movie for that. Like, it's the movie that introduces them. It has to have its growing pains.
Mm-hmm.
I love Loki. And this movie really starts to get and understand Loki. It's not always the best, like, because, you know, in the end where he just, oh, by the way, I'm still alive, and now I've somehow taken over Asgard. Like, I don't actually think any of that was earned, but there's some really interesting stuff with the character of Loki that informs everything after this in the character of Loki. And seeing that makes it hard for me to disregard this movie.
Yeah, I mean, to Izzy's point in our comments section, which I'll bring up his comment now because it's getting to the exact point which I wanted to bring up, is, yeah, Endgame made it a better movie. I don't know if Endgame makes it a better movie. I think I discussed last time that's not the way I view things, but villain was the worst in the MCU. I think that's debatable. I mean, we've got a couple of bad villains in the MCU, but Malekith is definitely among the worst villains in the MCU.
I see. For me, I like the actor Christopher Eccleston.
No, he's awesome.
Yeah,
but I just think that Malekith is just here to be a villain.
Yeah. He's a forgettable villain, but I also think in Phase 2 of the MCU, we are besieged with forgettable villains. Like, who? Like,
sorry, I'm trying to think specifically to Phase 2. Yeah, I guess so. I mean, who and the exact villain in Captain America: The Winter Soldier?
I mean, that's hard. Here's the thing, and that is a unicorn of Phase 2 because that's probably the best MCU movie. But it's like, who is the villain of that? I don't know. The brilliant part of that movie is, I don't know. Maybe it's S.H.I.E.L.D. Maybe it's Hydra. We don't fucking know. That's what's smart about it. Like, they keep playing that game. So, like, you know, but you can't pull out Captain America, Winter Soldier when we're talking about Thor: The Dark World. That's unfair.
No. We're just talking about villains in Phase 2. But either way, though, I don't think that I see Izzy's point about, like, I think Avengers Endgame makes the Dark World more important.
Yeah,
and you can't just toss it away. But I don't think it makes it a better movie. It's still whatever the movie is, it still is on its own, and that's it. Importance, yes, but the movie itself, I think for me, some of the things that worked in this movie, we can talk about the things that worked, is the Thor and Loki stuff worked really well for me. Agreed. I think that dynamic works a lot. I do not like the fake death, the cop-out fake death of Loki, because it's really very hand-wave, very unexplained, honestly. That I don't like.
I agree with that. I actually hated that because I thought that in remembering this movie, I thought that I missed something. I thought there was like a wink and a nod, like he was still alive. But no, you go from him pretending to sacrifice himself to help Thor to just taking over like Asgard, right? Like there's no...
Yeah.
Did I miss a jump between there?
Yeah, I mean, no, that's really what's there.
I mean, and that's crazy to me because, like that seems to me like they went, we can't let Loki die. He's really popular, and we're gonna make another Thor movie. But they should have done something to make us see, like, okay, yeah, he's still alive. Because you're right, that was bullshit. But I really do like the Thor Loki stuff. Like, and I think it does set the groundwork for all the great Thor Loki stuff in Ragnarok that we get.
Agreed, and that's why this movie can't be completely tossed to the side, and you can't pretend it didn't happen. But I don't know. There's just a lot that doesn't work for it. I also think that, like we talked about it when we talked about the original Thor, was the groundwork for what Ragnarok is, right? Because a lot, we talked about Bear's thoughts on how he hates Ragnarok for what's there. I think Thor: The Dark World attempted to go for more comedy, and it doesn't work a lot of it. The stuff with Eric Selvig is stupid with the whole no pants thing, and I get you're trying to explain that there's some ramifications of what happened when Loki was in his head, but this is not it. It happens for no reason. Darcy is here just because, like you said, they had to give Darcy something to do.
Right.
The intern Ian, completely pointless. Also, there's a lot of stupid things that don't work. Even in the final battle, the train thing, and like when Thor has to take the train a couple of stops to get to Malekith, and it's dumb.
As soon as he gets to Earth, it's like, again, as soon as he gets to Earth, I'm like, I'm done. I don't care. Like, and you bring up a good point. Like, they're trying to push some comedy while keeping, like, the fantasy aspect, but I think why Ragnarok works for me and this doesn't with that is because this is trying to push the comedy of, hey, look, it's funny when Thor's in Earth and not in Thor's world. It's not funny up there. That's deadly serious and anyone can die and we're all gonna die. But down here it's funny. Look, he's driving a car, honk honk. He's taking a taxi. Woo! But in Ragnarok, it's like, no, what's funny is everything.
Yeah.
It's like we start with, let me tell you a story. And so I think that's the thing is Ragnarok, when they make Ragnarok, they understand, like, okay, the first Thor was kind of fun. The funny parts were because they were on Earth, because he was a fish out of water, and that's just always funny. We didn't really nail the funny parts of the second because we just put him on Earth again. It was stupid. It didn't make any sense. And everything on Asgard was serious. Let's just blend the two. So I think that's how we get Ragnarok. But yeah, no, but again, I'm agreeing with you. So
and then Jane's date. I even forgot his name. He was the dude who was in again, the hot thing at the time was Bridesmaids.
Yeah.
So they took the guy from that. He's in this. He serves absolutely no purpose in this film.
No, not at
all. So that's another issue that I have with this film. And yeah, and Malekith is just, again, he's just kind of like there. And I want to drop in Tim's comment here. Tim is joining us tonight. Tim, thanks for joining us. At least he's a real villain, not an anti-hero or villain that has sympathetic qualities. Tim, that's where I'm going to disagree, though, because, well, I'm going to agree with you, he's a real villain, but I don't find the villains who are just like, hey, I'm evil. Why? Because I'm evil. Why? Evil. But why? Evil. Urgh. I think those villains suck. It's just, it's like, okay, you're here. Great. The movie needed a villain. At least some of the ones with sympathetic qualities or anti-heroes, they at least have a motivation. His was like, I want the ether because it's the ether. And it's the ether. And I like the ether. So, I don't know.
I think that I understand why they went with the arch villain in this, because they also had Loki, which is the, like, anti-hero, not a real villain, sympathetic qualities, like Tim says.
Yeah.
I just think where they dropped the ball is not giving Loki enough screen time. Like, we see Loki a lot in the beginning where he's imprisoned, and that's cool. And I like that, like, even when he's pretty much gotten his mother killed, and Thor comes down and he's like, drop the illusion, and he's just like, this is what I look like. Like, they set a lot of great stuff up with Loki. And I think if they followed through with that, and Loki was an anti-hero, sympathetic, villain, whatever, like Tim had said, and this other guy was like the arch villain, I think they might have balanced each other out. But I think, as you said, they waste Loki. They let him go way too early.
Yeah, I agree with you. I mean, he's just there to be a one-note villain, and that's kind of it, which is why I think Malekith doesn't work for me. I'm just, whatever. And him wanting to make the dark world expand and darken the universe, just, I don't know. Again, I hear it. I hear what he's saying, but it doesn't really make him a very interesting villain for, to me. All right, so and I agree with you. Loki's thing is that he really is in this movie. What does he do in the movie? He pretty much helps Thor escape and kind of sneak out of Asgard. Yeah. And then he has a fake death and takes over Asgard.
Right. And it's ridiculous because he his whole death is saving Thor.
Yeah.
And then he just takes over Asgard. And I'm okay with him having that death and then it's not real. I just wish they would have given us an indication, because literally we go from like, brother, I'm so dead, to, well, my son, you should go out there and try to have sex with as many, many, many earthly women as you can. And he goes off and he's like, I'm Loki.
Yeah.
That's the jump we get. It doesn't make any sense.
And it never gets explained, by the way, of how and why that happens, ever.
Because when we get to Ragnarok, it's like, well, where's our father? I don't know. I left him somewhere. He was demented. Like, we don't really get anything even in Ragnarok.
Yeah, which whatever. I mean, that's not on Taika Waititi to clean up the mess that was left.
No.
World, but yeah,
I'm just saying, like, you would think that someone might want to explain something at some point. That's all.
No, I agree. For the whole sake of the MCU, you should definitely try that. And I guess I wanted to get to Odin too, since we mentioned that. So Odin's thing, it's funny because in the beginning of the movie, he's kind of like telling Loki, because we pick up and it's the aftermath of the Avengers, and Loki's getting in prison, and he's letting Loki have it. Is like, we're like the people on Earth. And Loki points out, but plus or minus 10,000 years in life. Right. But Odin's point is, we can die, we can do this, we can do that. And then about 15 minutes later, he's shipping Lady Sif to Thor and saying, that's who you should be with. That's who's right in front of your eyes. Forget Jane Foster. It doesn't matter. Then when he sees Jane, he's pretty much can't wait to get rid of her. Oh, she's sick. Let the doctors over there take care of her. Get out of here. Dude, which is it? You're hating the humans? You're loving the humans? You're kind of all over the place, dude.
Yeah,
that was weird.
That was weird. Again, we shouldn't have the humans. I'm just saying. I think Thor Ragnarok is my favorite because there are no humans.
I got no problem with it because Thor's kind of moping around at that point, and he's like looking for Jane. He's like, dude, Lady Sif, she's waiting for you, man. And because you can see the incline in this movie that Lady Sif is interested in Thor.
Yes.
And she's not thrilled about it either. But then they kind of drop that, and obviously she's not in Ragnarok. So that really gets dropped everywhere. That really gets totally ignored also.
But she is in that episode of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., right?
But there's no mention of her. She's not like, hey, anyone seen Thor around?
No, absolutely not. I'm just thinking because that there is an episode of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. with Enchantress, and they're all in it. And that's why, like, I always think that we should actually just cover that one episode.
We probably should. Just go back to that one.
Because it's a Thor thing. Like, it's one episode, and all the Thor people are in it, plus Enchantress.
Thor adjacent episode.
Yeah.
So I don't know. There's a lot of things there, and then I wanted to get to one of Tim's comments too before we get to the post-credit scenes here. I know Tim's not a fan of Captain Marvel, but I take Dark World over Captain Marvel and the Eternals.
All right, but no, Tim, I'm going to say I'm half with you here. I actually think if you ask me which movie I'd rather watch again, Thor: The Dark World or Eternals, I'd rather watch The Dark World again. I don't hate either of them. I don't hate any of these movies, obviously. But, thinking about it, Thor: The Dark World, shorter. there's some fun in there. I'm with you. I'm with you on half of this. I do like Captain Marvel, though. I do enjoy that movie. I think I would rather watch Captain Marvel over Thor: The Dark World.
I would watch Captain Marvel and Eternals over Thor: The Dark World.
That's fair.
Easily. They're both better films.
We're not talking better films. We're talking about what I would watch.
Oh, well, better film and rewatchability, I guess, is different. I've seen Thor: The Dark World more than both of them, but that's only because Thor: The Dark World has existed longer, not because it's out. I've seen Captain Marvel quite a few times, especially when TNT was running it at one point, like endlessly. It would be on, and I would just start watching it.
And I actually do love that movie because it's 90s Sam Jackson somehow. I don't even want to know how they did this, what witchcraft they brought 90s Sam Jackson back. And I just think that's a fun movie. That movie is just 90s fun. So
yeah, Captain Marvel and Eternals is we discussed this. We covered it a while back. We both liked Eternals.
It's good.
We enjoyed it. It's
good.
A very different tone for the MCU. If you're going in looking for like a regular MCU film, you're not going to get that, but you do get a good film.
Yeah, no, it's good.
It's not your basic. It's not very MCU like is the point. But I do like a lot of things in Eternals, and I've seen Eternals, I think 4 or 5 times already. So whichever. But yeah, I don't know. I guess we'll rank our MCU films at one point. We have not covered a lot of them yet.
At some point, we have to do it because I haven't actually done a ranking since this new phase. So I don't know where I would rank Eternals or Shang-Chi or Black Widow or what's the other one I'm missing?
Spider-Man No Way Home.
Oh, well, I know where I would. I actually do know where I would rank that. That's why I forgot about it.
Yeah.
That's pretty fucking high up there for me, guys.
Yeah, Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness also.
Yeah, well, that one I still have to see that again before I know where it sits.
Yeah, I like to see them a few times before I can properly rank them. I don't like to rank them right off of like the excitement version. Remember, we talked about this before.
Yeah.
The first viewing of these movies, there's always we're gonna get a new MCU. Once that music starts and the MCU logo hits, I'm like beyond like hyped up and everything. Once you calm down and you've seen it a few times, you can properly reflect on it.
Right, exactly. And also, I think I've said in the show, like I saw the Multiverse of Madness, and because of my own expectations, it was not what I wanted it to be. So I had to sort of subvert those expectations. So I need to see it again one more time before I really know where it sits.
Yeah,
because of my own shit that I brought into it.
Yeah, I've seen it a couple of times now, and I don't know. I haven't sat down and actually ranked all the films now, because I would totally rank them separately. The shows are their own thing, even though they're all connected. But you can't compare 6 hours of a show to a 2-hour movie. Doesn't make sense. It doesn't.
No, it's not fair.
All right, so yeah, with Thor: The Dark World, though, I just think that there is a progression, though, from the first film to the second film to Ragnarok to them finding into Love and Thunder eventually, where they were trying to go with this. I think this is where they stubbed their toe, though, mainly in trying to find that right tone. And once they find Taika Waititi, and I know Chris Hemsworth even said, I know in interviews recently, he's even said he didn't like Thor: The Dark World because he was kind of bored with Thor. At this point in time, he kind of wanted it to be a little bit more. And apparently, I mean, it sounds like you and him would be on the same page. You weren't exactly loving him either until Ragnarok.
No, I didn't love Thor until Ragnarok at all. Like, the reason I think the reason I like this over original Thor, as I've said, is because up until Thor Ragnarok, I don't give a fuck about Thor. I'm watching it for Loki. And Loki is more interesting in Thor: The Dark World than he is in any movie prior, except for Avengers. But we're not counting. It's different.
Avengers.
We're not talking about like we've talked about this. It's unfair to compare solo movies to big,
the team up movies.
The team movies. Yeah. So like, of course, Loki's wonderful in Avengers, but this is the first we've actually seen Loki really interesting in a singular movie. And I've never actually cared about Thor, even in the comic books, before Ragnarok, honestly. Ragnarok is what makes me care about Thor. So I think that's why I kind of like this even more than Thor. But Ragnarok, it blows the doors off because you actually, again, I've said this. I think they realized they had someone who was funny with Chris Hemsworth. He's very funny naturally. And I hate to admit that because he's a beautiful man. And I really think that comedy should not be for the beautiful. It should be for those of us who look awkward. And I hate him for it, but I also love him for it because he's really funny. And I think they've actually lean into it, and that's when Ragnarok starts to work. But yeah, they're not. The Thor work is not in this movie. The Loki work is. That's my overall assessment.
Yeah. All right, so then that wraps it up for us on this episode of Granny's Peach Tea, and thanks for joining us. If it's on the Father's Day, happy Father's Day again to everyone who is. Tim, I know you are, so happy Father's Day to you if I haven't said it yet. But yeah, thanks for joining us. If you like what you heard tonight, you can join us on Granny's Peach Tea. I was on Facebook.
Fanny's Peach Tea.
Fanny's Peach Tea. No. Thanks for joining. Oh, well, we got a comment here. I'm getting excited. Wow, he was the only good thing about Ghostbusters. Yes, Izzy, I agree with you. I do despise that Ghostbusters movie. We talked about it on the show inadvertently because the Ghostbusters movie just sucked. It had nothing to do with the cast or anything like that. It's just poorly written and directed. What are you going to do? But yeah, thanks for joining us tonight. Thanks for joining us in this episode. If you like what you heard here, check out our Facebook group. Join Granny's Peach Tea on Facebook. Join a daily conversation, bunch of stories and stuff like that we share that break, that don't make the show. We'd love to hear from you about that. You could also check out Pop Culture Pros. That's what we're presented by. Check out the Mothership website and check out all the cool things that are going on there. If you're joining us on YouTube, hit subscribe. Check out Pop Culture Pros, Twitter. Follow Pop Culture Pros, Instagram. Go ahead, more Pop Culture Pros, and subscribe wherever you found your podcast for Pop Culture Pros. We will be back for Granny's Peach Tea next week talking about Thor Ragnarok because we are getting closer to Thor Love and Thunder. So it's Ragnarok time next week. Hopefully we didn't spoil it tonight with some of our thoughts of Ragnarok.
Yeah, guys, no, I'm going to spoil it all. I love Ragnarok. Just tune in so I can tell you why.
We'll be talking about episode 6 of The Boys. Episode 3 of Ms.Marvel, and we will also have an episode of Superman and Lois and the Flash to talk about as they'll be winding down their season. So come join us next week. If James Bond is your thing, and that's your jam, maybe not comic books, check out Double O Deep Dive with Jason and Ginny. And what are you guys? Are you guys on tomorrow night?
I've got to figure that out because I have not been able to watch actually the movies we're doing because I teach high school. I'm in Regents Week and they hit me with late schedules and it's been hard for me to watch stuff. So, but if not this Monday, the Monday after, we're going to be actually wrapping up the Roger Moore era. We're going to be ranking our Roger Moore movies, which, Ed, I wish you would have been there because Ginny and I walked away actually saying, I actually kind of personally like the Roger Moore stuff now. I've been converted. There's like one or two movies, like, look, Moonraker, fuck you. I'm never gonna like Moonraker. I'll die on that hill.
Oh, that's great. That's the only one I actually joined for the whole fucking
right. That's it. You joined for the worst one. But even A View to a Kill, we talked about it. It's like A View to a Kill is bad and it's crazy, but it's like Chris Walken, it's Grace Jones. It's crazy stuff. But we're gonna rank in that, and then we're also gonna be delving into the Austin Powers trilogy. I literally told Ginny, and Ed, if you can watch some of these. If you want to come on just for this, you're more than welcome. But Ginny asked, what should we watch for this? I said, well, watch Austin Powers 1, and then as much as 2 and 3 as you can stand.
Okay.
Because I think 1 is important to watch, but 2 and 3, they're hard to watch. I'm going to watch them. Okay. I can't make anyone else watch them. That would be cruel. But join us for them.
Okay, I kind of remember liking the second one. The third one I didn't like, but
you know what? A lot of people like the second one, and I give that to them. I don't particularly like the second one because it just I'll talk about it when I talk about it on the show. But I think we can all agree the third is garbage. But that's what we're going to be talking about. We're going to talk about Austin Powers as well as ranking our Roger Moore movies.
All right, and if you're into baseball, you like the New York Yankees, check out the Empire 161 show. It'll be me and Lisa Garcia. We'll be on tomorrow night at 5 o'clock, from 5 to 6, probably about there. So we'll be talking about the week in Yankees baseball. If you're into the New York Mets, check out a Put in the Book show with Faraci and Keith and Rodriguez. They do a great job covering the New York Mets over there. If you're into wrestling, check out Tim and Eric on the Just Too Sweet show. They're usually on Tuesday nights. Check out some wrestling, and I'm sure there's a whole lot of stories about Vince McMahon and the trouble he's kind of got himself in at the moment. So
the Vince McMahon troubles. We sure had a blues song, Ed.
It's the Vince McMahon, maybe art, life imitating art. I don't know. It seems like there's some stuff going on there. So go ahead and check that out. And if you've got one more, Tim and Eric, check out the A to Z show Friday nights. And Jason, I hear they cover everything from
Apex to Zenith.
That's a lot.
It's a lot. They literally cover the highest point to the highest point, motherfuckers.
If you want more Tim, you can't get enough Tim, check out
the
Shooting the Sith. Go ahead. He will be talking about the finale of Obi-Wan Kenobi, I'm sure, coming up this week. So that drops on Wednesday, so check out Tim with that. He does a great job covering Star Wars for us here at Pop Culture Pros. If you're into Disneyland, check out Skyliner Views on Thursday nights. And Ashley and Gabby, they talk about Disney pretty much every week. I'm not sure specifically what they talk about at the moment, but there's a whole lot of Disney stuff to cover. So check that out too. So we will see you next week. Peace.